officer will. That's New York, baby. All right, we are live right now. What is up, everybody? What is up, stream? How are we doing? I think we should be live. There we go. We are live. How's everybody doing? April 14th, 2023. We got James, Mr. James Shiano, formerly known as Jeter Had No Range, on with us today to talk about what happened in baseball the last few days, or yesterday, I should say, not the last few days, yesterday. So we're going to talk about some prospects, some rankings of some rookies this year. Figure it's a lot of good rookies. Let's talk about them. Let's give you guys our opinions on these guys and see how well they're doing. And just talk about pretty much anything that's going on in baseball. Say what's up to the chat, James. How does it feel to be back on for the second time? You're a recurring guest now.
I'm excited. I'm the Friday guy. I love being the Friday guy. The Friday guy's a fun guy.
Exactly. Friday guy. We're going to have some fun here today. Appreciate all you guys coming and hanging out with us. I'm going to fire out a tweet real quick because I have not actually really tweeted about this stream like ever, which is kind of crazy. So let's go ahead and fire out a quick tweet.
Also, of course, this is a baseball show, but Knicks in the playoffs tomorrow. Huge day.
Of course. Huge day. Big day. Big day for the Knicks. Need them to win. Honestly. I'd like to see the Knicks move on to the second round for the second or third time in our lifetime.
It would be the second time since 2009.
All right, let's fire off this tweet.
Got a lot of rookie stuff for you guys today. Not a lot of games yesterday, so those will be quick, but a lot of big rookie report coming up.
Big one, robust.
Got notes on 30 rookies here.
I think this is the link to get to the stream. Beautiful, it is. And let's tweet out the thumbnail. Live. Professional streamer here.
Yeah, right? Professional.
All right, here we go. Now we're ready to roll. Put the tweets out. Everything's good to go. Let's start talking about the games. Short one or a little one yesterday. There wasn't a lot of games going on, but I feel like some of the games that I watched, at least there was some good stuff to talk about. We can start it off with the Oakland A's versus the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles walk it off. Adley Rutschman is off to a crazy, crazy hot start. I mean, it does help that he's probably 26 years old and kind of in his rookie year, even though he was last year. But, I mean, the Orioles, they're a fun team, I feel like, at least. They may not be good yet, and I think I was talking about this in a video I did last night that you guys have not yet seen. But they're, I don't think, where people think they are, but I don't think that they're bad still. I think they're probably right around that 500 range and will be competing for a playoff spot. I just don't see them as a team that really makes the playoffs or makes a lot of noise yet.
No, I mean, they still just are very obviously a few pitchers short, but their lineup is so much fun that in a regular season, that becomes the storyline. Grayson Rodriguez is going to be sick, and Kyle Gibson's actually been awesome, especially in that ballpark. I think he is going to be a legitimately good player, but that's it. They had to send down Cole Irvin, who they actually went out and traded for in the offseason.
They sent him down?
Yeah, today they sent him down. They optioned him. So I don't know if that was clerical or if that was just because he wasn't pitching super well. And then Dean Kramer, Tyler Wells. Tyler Wells actually is kind of fun, but he just doesn't. He's never going to be a guy who makes a real difference. Ooh. And there's too many good teams in the American League right now. I don't know. It's hard for me to say they're going to be awesome, but I like watching their games. If there's a slew of games on, I'm going to pick the Orioles one.
At your mic. Oh, talk again into it.
Hello?
Your mic is crackling.
Crackling in a bad way? What should I do?
Yeah. Yeah, and unplug it and come back in. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, James Mike's, of course, as soon as we start talking baseball, it starts to crackle. But I'll be hanging out with you guys here. What's up, boys? Love Fridays with Mets Up Crew. Yo, thank you, Skylar. Appreciate it. Really sucks about the hit streak ending, but Jordan Walker is so special. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second. Don't talk about the Yankees game. No need for that. Oh, we're going to talk about the Yankees game. Sorry about that, Jack. Get the homer hose. Grayson Rodriguez needs to be called up. He is called up. What's up, UCLA Dodger fan? Watching the Twins game made you happy. Made me happy too, Alex. Made me happy too. And they batted McCann fourth the other day. Yeah, they did, Nick. They did. Julian with first career home run in the same inning. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Hey, GNM, I am a huge fan. I've been watching since 2018 Jabari Blash saga. Even though I'm a Phillies fan, I appreciate your videos. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate you. You're the man. You're a beast. If you guys are new to the stream, make sure you do hit that sub and drop a like. Let's see if James' mic's better.
Is it better?
Yes, better.
That's weird. That never happened before.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I don't know what happened. It was almost like it got interference or something.
Yeah, the UFO came through Brooklyn.
Yeah, but you can finish up your Orioles take unless that was kind of the end of it for now.
I mean, that was kind of it. They're just like super fun, but there's not enough pitching to like sustain a real like competitive contender. Like I feel like they get grouped with the Mariners a lot because they're both fun at the same time last year. And if you combine their rosters, you would have the most super team probably in the whole league.
I feel like I'm bunching them right now with the Diamondbacks, even though I think the Diamondbacks might be a little ahead, even though I don't think their hitting is legit like the Orioles. I think their pitching is much better.
I think the pitching is probably much better, but I don't think we're far away from Grayson Rodriguez being considered really good. So I think that just anticipating that happening in the next couple months, it puts them on the same kind of level.
No, 100%. Yeah, they're very comparable. Did you see in this game though? So Trevor May ended up blowing the game, giving up the home run. Friend of the channel, unfortunately, for this one. But he had I don't want to say a freak out on Twitter, but he had a lot to say on Twitter. Did you see this?
I did not see that.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the tweets real quick. I'll learn how to use StreamYard better, and maybe I'll pull them up. But he was kind of going off after the game, and he put out a tweet that said, "I heard MLB viewership is among 12 to 24-year-olds up 200% since the games are shorter. Can anyone confirm?" This was, like minutes after he blew the game, like pretty soon after. And then he quote tweeted Fuzzy. Fuzzy was talking about like all he sees is more baseball, and there's people that are saying it's being taken away. Blows my mind. All the stats about how offense is up 1.4 runs per game compared to 2020, and the average up to 20 points compared to the same number of days in 2022. So average is at 250 as opposed to 230. Stolen bases up. I think we can all agree that the pitch clock is better, right?
Yeah.
And then Trevor May says, if you're a younger pitcher only, I'd recommend picking the bat back up. There might be a pitching machine out there by 2026. Vote passes 7-4. He was pissed about the pitch clock. Pissed. He even quote tweeted someone later who said, "What do you think about the pitch clock?" And he said, "Shorter, please." So I guess he's
PLZ.
Yeah, please. So I guess he's kind of saying it's a little bit of the pitch clock's fault. And I think there have been a couple other guys who have been saying that the hitters are getting all the advantages here and the pitchers get none. And basically pitchers are getting screwed. And this can be seen by stolen bases being up, runs being up, average being up. Do you agree that pitchers are being screwed and that this is only for hitters whatsoever?
I mean, I think there's a lot of legitimate points to what he's saying. I don't know if I would say pitchers are getting screwed. I think that the way like a lot of baseball advancement has gone in the last 5-10 years even is that pitching really got really good and really like much more intuitive very quickly. And there weren't that many adjustments for hitters. And now in the same offseason, we've seen a lot of hitters kind of find a lot of different ways to get better. Like we're hearing more about guys who do like bat speed training now, or guys who are just able to like change their swing up and get different launch angles, guys who are like building up different approaches. Like we've heard a lot more about hitting analytics in the last 24 months. And I feel like that's all coming to a head at the exact same time they had the biggest rule change in the sport in like ever to really give hitters advantages. Because I think the shift ban kind of plays into this as well. All those things that we're talking about, like there's more hits on balls in play now, as well as the pitcher being more likely to be uncomfortable on the mound. Like I think that was intentional too.
I think it's also funny that I feel like no one's talking about the shift at all. Like no one seems to be, it's like all pitch clock. It's all the big bases. But again, like we did think that the shift being banned per se with the quotes was going to increase offense. And it seems like it has at least. I wonder what the averages on ground balls are.
I'm checking right now the league BABIP since 2021. I'm gonna bring that up here in a second because I'm kind of curious now just having talking about it.
But where I was going with this was that like the pitch clock definitely, I think, probably is more uncomfortable for the pitcher than the hitter. But I don't think because there is a certain time that the hitter or the pitcher has to throw a pitch, that gives the hitter an advantage. It's just the pitchers have more an adjustment period, I think, than hitters. But we've seen a guy like Pete Alonso who likes to take his time going up to the plate, like likes to think about what pitch he just saw. Like he's like a big like visionate guy. We see him take his deep breaths and like get into the zone, and it's taken some adjustment from him. So I don't think it's just like a 1-to-1 of pitchers are better than hitters here.
You're also saying it takes an adjustment for him, and I believe he leads the league in home runs.
For sure, yeah, no, but like
one adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a big, strong. He's a big, strong guy, but like in spring training, you saw he was like super, super uncomfortable. He's sprinting back and forth. I think it does affect hitters as well. I don't think it's like just black and white of the hitters are getting a clear advantage and the pitchers are getting a disadvantage.
Yeah, we are now a good amount into the season. There's been 15,000 plate appearances almost.
It's happening again, yeah.
What the heck? Why?
Just try unplugging and plugging it back in. I can also hear myself.
Hello?
Okay, you're good.
I'm sorry, everybody. This is really annoying. But we're like almost 15,000 plate appearances into the season, and BABIP is up 9 points from last year and 7 points from 2021. So there's legitimate change. Like more balls in play are being turned to hits. Like that's a meaningful sample, and it's real.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. And also in the chat, someone said you're not pulling up the stats today. I can't because using StreamYard a little limited here on what we can actually do. Working on it. Working on how to figure out how to get like the setup right while also using this software when we have people in. But no stats today. You guys might have to follow along on your computer or phone if you are doing so. But yeah, Orioles moved to 7-6. A's are 3-10. Mets got a big series up against the A's, especially for our stake bet. Really need the Mets to sweep here. I know you're rooting for the Mets to sweep too, but a win is at least like a little positive for you if the A's get one.
Yeah. So if anyone here listens to the Mets Stuff podcast, Mark and I also have the estimate this week of the Mets and A's run differential, and he has 10 or less, and I have 11 or more. So so Mark doesn't care about the Mets as much as me.
I guess that's one way that you could spin it is I don't care about them. Anyway, Orioles, A's, pretty easy stuff there. We'll talk again about the young players that are up right now a little bit later. Let's talk about the best team in baseball, though. We did a little video on this last Friday when you came on. The Rays are now 13-0, have not lost a game. I think they're playing the Blue Jays next, so there might be a chance that the Rays get their first loss because the Blue Jays are still a good team. But they really just kind of handled the Red Sox this series, and especially in this game, they were pretty good, I think you could say.
This game was kind of cool because the Rays trailed for about 6 minutes. So I think that was like the first time that we've seen that like happen a little bit. I think they've only trailed for 6 total innings this year. And something else did meaningfully happen this game. Jeffrey Springs got injured, which is kind of a really big deal for them. But you just watched like Taj Bradley come up for no reason 2 days ago and have like a complete lights out start. So it's not, even if Springs is out for somewhat of an extended period of time, I'm sure Bradley will fill in and be lights out. And then Tyler Glasnow's back in like another month anyway. So it hurts them, but it doesn't hurt them as much as it hurt basically any other team in the league. But this lineup is awesome. It's gotten so good. It looks so different than it did last year with a healthy Brandon Lau, Wander Franco just morphing into baseball Jesus, and Randy Arozarena like keeping the World Baseball Classic vibe going. Like those three in the middle of the order, like you're hard pressed to find about a 2, 3, 4 right now. Dude,
Brandon Lau has not only been so good for the Rays, so good for my fantasy team. The dude's got 5 home runs. He's hitting 300. He's playing like the Brandon Lau that we saw. What was that? 2021, right? Was his good year?
Yeah, I think that was
2021. Because last year he struggled. He's looking like a beast. The top 4 of that lineup just gets on base, mashes. Yandy's hitting for some power, which could be super, super scary. Yandy had what, like 10 home runs last year, and he's already at 4. Granted, the balls might be a little bouncy again. I think they're getting close to those 2019 levels, if not the same. But Yandy hitting for power, a guy who's always been ripped, always been jacked, always hit the ball hard. If he can hit home runs, all of a sudden you're looking at the top 4 of this lineup. You're like, oh, 4 legitimate power hitters that also hit for average and get on base. How do we get these guys out? The Rays are just built so friggin' well.
I mean, Yandy's just a guy who always was awesome at everything except hitting the ball in the air. And so far this year, he has lifted more balls and put balls on the ground.
That's sick.
And if that happens, like he could contend for like an all-star spot. Like he'd be like in MVP conversations. He already has 6 barrels on the season. He had 20 all of last year. So he's already it's like almost a third of the way there. And it's only been 2 weeks of baseball. It's kind of ridiculous. He looks so good.
No, he looks so good. Who the hell is this Bristow guy that came in for the Rays out their bullpen? You know anything about him? This is a name I legitimately have never seen any before. Braden Bristow. He's a 28-year-old rookie. Made his first appearance yesterday. 3 innings out of the pen, 4 strikeouts, got the save. He was a 23rd round pick by the Yankees in 2016 out of Louisiana Tech. Who the hell is this guy?
I don't know anything, but he has a very weird, strange pitch mix. He's got a cutter that he threw most of the time. He keeps it high, and then he has sinkers he throws almost like a little bit less, and then a lot of sweepers and a few changeups. So just having cutter sinker sweeper, that's like a soft contact guy. It's amazing that he got that many whiffs. But the guy who came in for them before Bristow, Kevin Kelly, I've never seen a pitcher like him in my entire life. Anybody watching right now should go to Pitching Ninja because Kevin Kelly got the Pitching Ninja treatment yesterday. He is basically a submariner. The Rays pull one. Yeah, there he is. They pull one random submariner out every single year. There's a cool pitching analyst on Twitter, Lance Brozdowski. I think he actually works for the Cubs network now, which is cool. Got a nice job. But He made this amazing graphic last year or the year before that.
Ooh, I think I know which one you're talking. Was it about
around the clock?
Yeah.
Basically that like a lot of teams in the league, like a lot of like the much more advanced athletic teams, they like to have relievers who give different looks because it's very hard for hitters to like change their eye level inning after inning. So basically 2 years ago, the Rays like had an alignment in their bullpen where pitchers had like every single arm slot around the clock. And he made a very cool graphic showing it. And Kevin Kelly, if you were looking his around the clock, it'd be like 4:30, like maybe 4:45, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And he was throwing these backdoor sliders to lefties, and they were like, "What the fuck was that?" It's like it looks like witchcraft. As you get those gifts up because they're nuts.
We got to crack again. I wonder what's going on. That's so interesting. Never has happened before with us on StreamYard. It's got to be the USB port maybe or something that's just like disconnecting. Maybe, I don't know. Next time it happens, I'm going to let you do it a little bit longer and see if they hear it on stream. But yeah, the Rays are really good. 13-0 on the year. If they beat the Red Sox are pretty bad. Corey Kluber looks pretty dead, right? And Chris Sale looks pretty dead. And
I think Sale will be all right. His velocity and his movement looks fine. I think he's just got to like put the ball in the right spot. If anyone in this team to be a little confident, I think Sale is the one.
Really interesting. I feel like I've seen his numbers. I've like only seen like the highlights of his start. I haven't watched him actually pitch. And I was like, it just feels like he's getting shelled or walking everybody right now.
I mean, because he always like walked that tightrope because he comes from the same angle and every pitch looks exactly the same. Where like if this is a little bit off, like it's either not going to be a strike or it's going to be in the middle of the plate. So I think he's riding on it now. He's still getting swings and misses. His fastball's still like 94 miles an hour. So I still think that's enough for him to be eyed he's still striking out 30% of hitters. Like, yeah, it's like I think this will even out a little bit more than any of the other guys.
Did you see you hit third for the Red Sox yesterday?
I did. Yeah, Mr.
Rob Refsnyder.
You see who hit fourth? Tristan Casas, who came and hit the ball.
What is that? I mean, the lineup is
it's one of the worst lineups I've ever seen. They gave Rafael Devers an off day.
Yu Chang starting at shortstop. Bobby Dahlbeck third base. Oh God.
Yeah, McGuire.
Reese McGuire's been hitting the ball well, and that was after an 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts in this game. Still at 391. My goodness, yeah, the Red Sox are bad. They're definitely the worst team in the AL East.
That happened late in this game. Justin Turner stole a base.
He's so slow.
Yeah, he just took one. I think he actually looks like he's going to get there too this year, have a decent year. Him and Verdugo, Devers, the top are good enough, but this team is completely a mess.
He's also like built to play in Fenway in his older years.
I mean, 100%.
Pepper it off the green monster, and he'll hit like 280 again with like 20 home runs kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right, Reds versus Phillies. Love to talk about this one because holy crap, the Phillies can't win a friggin' game. How sick is this that they're starting the year off 4-9, especially when me and you have both been saying, I don't think this Phillies team is as good as everyone in baseball is making it out to be. Because why, James?
Because they have no pitching.
Exactly. They have no pitching. Their holes are glaring, and it's being exposed against teams that are not even supposed to be good this year, like the Reds and the Marlins. Like they can't beat the bottom of the division.
I mean, you walk into a game against the Reds and you have a strong pitching disadvantage because you throw out Bailey Falter, who is just he is who he is. Bailey Falter will go out there and he'll throw the ball, and they're probably going to hit it, but he's gonna pitch. And Mark Tadger for the Phillies gives me life. I mean,
which is also funny. And then look at this one.
Phillies they just stink. They're just not that good right now. Like there's nothing else to really say about it. Like the middle of their order, awesome. Love that like Trey Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos is hitting again, which was going to happen. Real Muto. Stott looked really good.
Stott and Bohm look like they might have figured it out. And this is like a big tip of the cap to Kevin Long. Really, really good hitting coach. One of the best like in baseball. He's been around everywhere, but it's because I think people want him, not necessarily because he stinks. Mets had him at 1.2, Nationals, Yankees. Like he's been around. Really, really good. He's able to get batters to pull the ball really well. That's kind of like his big thing I talked about on the stream earlier this week. And with Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm specifically, pulling the ball for power a lot more, which is something that me and you have talked about off air about some of the Mets minor leaguers needing to learn to pull the ball. Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott seem to be doing it this year, seem to be a legitimate part of this lineup. But then you also like have Josh Harrison, who's getting at-bats every day. I know your boy Edmundo Sosa had another great day, but I just don't believe in that guy one bit.
No, I think Edmundo Sosa is definitely a player. It's just like it's the logic of a guy comes from the Cardinals and he's going to be good. The Cardinals player development is so good they have to keep cutting guys who are actually really good. So every single guy who's cast off from the Cardinals winds up still being good. Sosa's good, but I think that you're kind of admitting defeat on your team building if Josh Harris is DHing for you on April 14th.
He can't be. He just simply can't be.
He's a 398 OPS. That's like backup. That's like a backup catcher OPS, and they chose. We're like, you don't even have to play the field. DH. We just want your bat in the lineup, even though it's one of the worst in the league right now. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, they have huge holes. Bailey Falter got shelled, which was about time because he had like a couple okay starts that made you go, okay, maybe he's not that bad. And then the Reds lineup just absolutely tore him apart. 8 hits, 5 earned runs, only struck out 4. And their bullpen, again, whoa, who saw this coming? It's not that great. They walk guys, they give up hits. They're not that great.
It wasn't that bad yesterday, though. Yesterday, they gave up 1 run in like 4 innings.
Yeah, but it's just like there's no easy feeling with this Phillies bullpen. Like I feel like the way that I've been saying it is, here's where it's going to be. They're either going to have a difficult day or they're going to be lights out. And it feels like they've had a lot of difficult days early on.
Can I tell you something funny about this Phillies bullpen?
Hit me.
I was looking at box scores before we came on, just like getting prepped for the show. And I saw M. Moore in the Phillies bullpen with a 15 ERA. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know they'd re-sign Matt Moore.
He's on the Angels.
It's McKinley Moore.
Who?
McKinley Moore. You know McKinley Moore.
McKinley Moore. This is a person, 24 years old, 14th round pick in 2019 out of Arkansas Little Rock, and he has gotten shelled.
Mm-hmm. And you love a team like the Phillies, who like very clearly has a glaring hole where they don't have enough like athletic guys to play certain defensive positions, and they have like a leader, a captain, and Bryce Harper, who's taking the torch and saying, you know what, guys, I'm going to come back and play first base. Because you know what this team needs? Another first baseman.
Another first baseman for sure.
I love Bryce.
I feel like if you are the Phillies, don't you not want to rush him back to play first base? Because anytime a ball gets hit to first, or like if you have a lefty on the mound, just steal. Take off early as soon as the guy lifts his leg. Bryce Harper has to make a throw then.
I would be like, dude, can you please just play the outfield?
Yeah.
I don't want you to play first base. Like we have everyone in this team wants to play first base. This is like
part of Alec Boehm's success this year also could be the fact that he's playing first base and doesn't have to worry about fielding right now. He's been like, I don't have to worry about making throws. I don't have to worry about making plays. I can just catch the ball. That's easy. I can do that.
You don't think that's the same deal with Stott at second base too? Of course.
Your mic's doing it again.
What the hell?
I think it's the cable. I got to say, the mics that they gave us are great, but the little cable that they gave us, I had to get rid of mine because it's so shit. So I think it might be the cable because it doesn't click into the mic well on either side, especially when you take it out and in, which we do with ours. That's why I ended up getting...
We've done hours of recording on this thing. I've recorded like 20, 30 hours in this short microphone.
For sure.
Never happened before.
That's why I got this the XLR cable, which we might have to set you up with because that little cable that they gave us is shit. It's awful.
Okay, that makes sense. Last time doing that. We'll record that for next week. But
for sure.
Yeah. And also the Reds. Like I want to talk about some of these Reds in a little bit because like Spencer Steer looks like such a professional hitter. Jonathan India has completely rebounded after a really down 2022 following a really good rookie season. Tyler Stevenson has just become like one of these professional hitters. Like
very good.
The top of that order is not good. I'm never gonna say it's good. But like to have the 3 major league hitters in Cincinnati is a big deal.
But they're not bad. That's where they're not good, but they're not bad. Like I really like Spencer Steer. I liked him in Minnesota. I think me and you talked about he's just kind of a man without a position, right? He just doesn't really fit anywhere. But third base for the Reds seems to be that spot where they just stick dudes and like figure it out. They did it with Drury last year too a little bit. Just take the bat. He's swinging it really well, like you said. Tyler Stevenson, I've always liked. Good hitter. It's always been health with him. Every single time he's ever played, he's hit really, really well. The rest of the team, of course, starts to fall off. Like Will Myers, he had a good day yesterday, but he's looked not great, and he should look good in that ballpark. Your boy Nick Senzel stinks. He's bad.
So bad. I really thought it was going to work out eventually.
No, I think they really fucked him when they put him in center field. And he's like, I've never played here. Like, oh, what do you know? A young player playing a new position, maybe not a good decision.
He was coming off vertigo. Not that cool. You can't see. They put him in center field.
Kevin Newman plays far too much on this team for a guy who hits about as hard as me and you.
I want to see how many at-bats Kevin Newman has in the last 4 years because from the first week he ever played baseball, people were like, oh, he can't hit.
Yeah.
And he has never left the field. These plate appearances by season, 2019, 531, 2020, 172, 44 games, 2021, 554, even last year, 310. He's 1,700 plate appearances in Kevin Newman's career. And the same thing continues to happen.
Jose Barrero, I know, is a guy that you love, just might not Might
I love
not
him
be
like
that
2
guy.
years ago. That's not like a current thing. I think he still hits the ball hard and he like plays okay defense, but he just so much strikeout.
Nick asks, is Votto retired or injured? He's injured. He's doing his rehab in AAA right now. He should be up, I think, by like the end of May-ish.
He was pretty like what's the word I'm looking for? He was pretty nonchalant about saying when he's going to come back though. When he did get injured at the end of spring, they're like, when do you think you're going to come back? He'll be like, I don't know.
Seems like he's not in a rush.
We'll see. Yeah, he's like, what's the deal?
Getting that check from the Reds, and he's like, whatever. You guys you guys want to hold me down here forever? I'm not going to complain. Like I could buy the city. I'm sure he's playing in Louisville. I think that's their AAA. So that's not a bad place to be.
I feel like that's a town Joey Votto would love.
You saw this in the winter during spring training, or in the winter, he was playing in a local chess club in Canada. Got super into chess.
That's so funny. That's so.
He's
Joey
a cool
Votto.
dude. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Dope.
And when I went to spring training and I was watching them do like stuff on the field, Joey Votto does not shut the fuck up during practice. That dude is just nonstop talking to everybody. Yasiel Puig was on the team at the time, and him and Yasiel Puig were going at it nonstop. Just whose music is this? Oh, this music sucks. Turn this off every 5 minutes. Fun dude. Last guy I want to talk about on the Reds right now, Nick Lodolo. Legit, just so good. So good. Screwed me. Couldn't get 7.5 strikeouts yesterday on my underdog slip, which hurt me. Only 6, but he's just got like some absolutely filthy stuff. And he looks like, doesn't matter if he plays in the Reds ballpark. He's going to be a beast.
No, and he just has a lot of pitches that he's able to throw, and he throws them all from like his weird arm slot. He's like nice and deceptive. Nick Lodolo is one of those guys who like, this isn't really true right now, but it just seemed like a guy who's never like going to pop when you like watch him, because like he doesn't really throw super hard, and the breaking balls aren't like those like holy shit breaking balls, but he's striking everybody out right now. He's locating his four seamer, he's mixing his sinker, his curveball looks awesome, his changeup is getting the guys out too. It's just like a lot is working right now. The way he's using that changeup is really important to him as like that weapon against righties, which is something that I thought there was a chance he could maybe struggle with, but he's freaky. Yeah, no,
he's definitely really good, and I'm interested to see what he's going to look like throughout this year, because he's off to a great start this season. The Reds, like we said, they have good young pitching. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and your boy Graham Ashcraft. That's a good little three-headed monster that's like sneaky young. Like Graham Ashcraft being 25 years old, I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
I think Lodolo's about the same age.
Yeah, he is, and Hunter Green's what, like 23, 24?
Yeah. Lodolo's 25, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have a young pitching staff coming up the pipeline here. And they have some good prospects coming up as well soon. But right now, not the Reds' time. Good win, though, over the Phillies. Love to see the Phillies have the same record as the Washington Nationals. Maybe that should have been the bet, James. Who has more wins this year, Nationals or Phillies?
That's going to be close. I don't know. I'm starting from the same spot.
Mike again.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the mic, but it's definitely the cable for sure. Anyway, we'll move on to the next game here as James is fixing his mic. We got the Twins versus the Yankees. Twins winning some games in New York. That's great. They don't really do that often. A nice 11-2 win over the Yankees to start the series, to move to 9-4 on the year. And let's talk about Johnny Burrito over here, who just got absolutely mauled yesterday. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, some good hitters here. I don't know how to get them out. 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 1 walk, didn't get a strikeout, gave up a home run too. Did not make it out of the first inning. I just like haven't cared to look into Johnny Burrito too much, because I just figured he's not going to stick around for that long, so it's not worth it. I'm sure you know a little bit more on him. I mean, is this probably what he is?
I think you're being a little mean. First of all, it sounds like you're calling him Johnny Burrito.
Well, I did call him Burrito the first time, and then I'm calling him Burrito now.
Well, first of all, it's just hard to face any lineup when you have like a superstar like Edouard Julien like leading off. Like,
yes,
it's like one of the better hitters in baseball. It's hard to see that to begin a game and be like, all right, now I have to get guys out as a rookie. But no, I kid. Burrito, I kind of feel bad for him right now, because there's no reason he should be pitching the major leagues yet. Like he's like maybe in July, but like the fact that the Yankees are on their 8th starting pitcher and like Clark Schmidt doesn't even look good, and it's April 14th, like that really stinks for him, because he's not. Like, there are things about Johnny Burrito where I'm like, all right, there is something here that could make him a good pitcher. He got mauled yesterday. It wasn't even funny. And he's really weird, because he's like primarily a changeup pitcher. It's so rare that like any pitcher in baseball is like, I'm going to throw you my changeup 40% of the time, and then we're going to figure out the rest. But like the fact that he's just a changeup guy, he sits 96, and it's like a sinker. The fastball's not really that good. He has been throwing some four seamers. I'm not going to write him off. He just needs probably to learn a slider or something.
Which is fair. But, yeah.
And he'll pitch well against the bad teams, and probably not really good against the good teams, especially in Yankee Stadium.
How are you feeling about the Twins? Because coming into the year, like it's all Guardians in that division, and it's like, what if with the Twins, right? Like was always a big question mark because we know their roster is good. Like it wasn't a debate of whether or not they had good enough players to make the playoffs. To me, it was always like I think there's just a weird Rocco Baldelli factor. Like for some reason, nothing makes sense. Like they underperform, so I got to blame it on the manager because the players all play well, they pitch well, they do stuff well, but yet they don't win games, which makes me think it's Rocco Baldelli's fault. But they're off to a great start. Everyone's kind of playing pretty well. And that was like Carlos Correa is kind of starting to heat up now too, after having that like weird little back thing for the first week or so. Just kind of like a good team, right? Do you believe in them?
I do believe in them. We talked about them last week. I think there's a lot about the Twins that's like really good. And I think they're having a couple things that were kind of like questionable that have become good. Like Trevor Larnach just hitting every day and actually being a good baseball player, already calling up Julian and him looking good. Jorge Polanco is also going to come back soon, who everyone forgets is like a clean like 2015 guy, just one of the more underrated players in baseball. And sneaky pickup for them in the offseason, just Christian Vasquez being like an actual like professional behind the plate. There's been major advancements in his pitching staff, and a lot of it is because all these guys learn new pitches, and that's a really big deal. But it probably helps a lot to have like just a pro back there catching. Like this is an old baseball guy take, but like Vasquez is one of the more like established like veteran catchers who people have like really said good things about his entire career. And I think that's something that was overlooked because he's not, even though right now he is hitting the crap out of the ball, like he's probably picked up more for like what he means for locker room and defense.
Yeah, everyone forgets that he was on the Astros the end of the year last year, and the Astros like pretty much don't care about catching at all because they're like, we have Martin Maldonado, but to get Vasquez, it's a huge tip of the cap to him and his ability behind the plate. They also have Jeffers too, who's a very good defensive catcher. He's just at the plate a little weird, even though he does low key barrel the ball at an elite rate when he does play. And like you said, the pitching I think is the big thing. The fact that Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez are going head to head right now for the Cy Young is pretty incredible for guys who you probably could have gotten some incredible value on if you made a preseason bet for those guys to win the Cy Young, because I don't think they were probably anywhere on those lists. But the sweeper for both of them has been huge.
Even yesterday, Ryan barely even threw it. It was all his splitter and the fastballs. I think the Yankees also, it's hard to keep your head in the game when you're down 9-0 when you come to the plate.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Joe Ryan was able to just throw some high fastballs. The Yankees are like, fuck it, whatever. But he's throwing more velocity this year. He always had the super deceptive fastball. Now he's sitting above 93, which he was always a guy who was like more 91, 92. That kind of limited him even as a prospect coming up, despite his great stats all through the minor leagues with the Rays. But just looks good. Student of the game. He's just everything's getting better. And every guy they pull out of his bullpen just looks better than they did last year. Like Cole Sands looked awesome yesterday. He's throwing all four seamers and sinkers with a couple splits, and the Yankees are just like, I don't know. I don't want to hit it, whatever. And he's throwing with more velocity. He's sitting 94. He used to be like a 91, 92 guy. They're just doing something right, it seems like. And it always has felt like that for the last few years without them being able to actually get over the hump. But now it feels like they might be getting over some kind of a hump.
I do have some breaking news here. Logan Webb just got an extension. Just got an extension from the Giants, 5 years, $90 million. Takes him through 2028. So that's 2 more years after his contract would have ended. Or 3 more, actually, because he was going to be a free agent in 2026. So you get 26, 27, 28 now with Logan Webb. 5 for 90. What's that come out to money-wise? I'm trying to think of that. Is that
18?
18? Readjust your mic. But yeah, Logan Webb, good for him. He's not looked great, though, right? To start the year, hasn't he been a little bit shaky? I feel like his first couple starts here. He had the good one against the Yankees, and then I think he struggled. Can't hear you. No.
You hear me now?
There you are. Yeah, there you are.
I gotta change the mic up, but it's so annoying. Sorry, everybody. But he's like changing a lot of his stuff. I think he's throwing a little bit harder, and his slider's moving a lot more. He's like changing his pitch mix, but I still think he's awesome.
Yeah. Back to the Twins Yankees, though. Shout out to Byron Buxton. He got hurt in a game and did not miss any time. Did you see that? You saw the scary collision he had?
I didn't see it.
Oh, dude, you have to see it. Just look up Byron Buxton, Lennon Sosa on Twitter real quick so that you can get a reaction, because Byron Buxton, this is why he gets hurt. He collided with Lennon Sosa on a ground ball, and you would think that like someone hit him with a car the way.
What right? The frick? How'd he get over there?
I don't know. But it's like he got hit by a car. I'm like, just take it easy, Byron Buxton. But I'm glad to see that he somehow didn't miss a single game with that.
I'm going to DM you like the freeze frame of it where Byron Buxton is completely horizontal in the air, like all of his limbs are sprawled out. How does this happen?
I don't know, but it's just because Lennon Sosa's a tank like that. He's just so strong. He's built well.
Yeah, I'm confident in Twins right now. Also, I don't know if you saw, but Kirilloff, the long lost son, is rehabbing again. He's hitting homers down the minor leagues. If it ever happens, it might just happen. He might just be awesome because there's definitely room in this batting order for a nice guy with thump to come back and make a difference.
100%. They could definitely use it a little bit, but they're off to a great start. First place in the division. Let's put you on the spot. Guardians or Twins? Who wins it?
I still like the Guardians more.
I think I do too. Still,
yeah,
I do too.
I think that Lopez and Ryan look amazing right now, but I think once because these are just new pitches, give teams like a month of tape, and then they get see them, and then they probably will be good, but still not as good.
Yeah. All right. Next game to talk about: Blue Jays versus Tigers. This was a weird one because the Tigers are awful and they played a horrible, horrible game. Javi Baez got benched in this one.
I've got a question for you about this game.
Okay, hit me.
I looked at the Tigers lineup yesterday before the game started. I just had like the MLB lineup alerts like going on Twitter for fantasy baseball and whatnot. And I think, truthfully, this might have been the worst lineup in Major League history. And I want to see if you could ever did anything back in the crazy annals of your brain that you can think of like a worse team. And again, this is April, mind you. Anything that happens in September, I don't think counts. April 14th. This day,
I got a lineup.
Tyler Nevin hit second in this game.
I got a lineup. How about the 2021 New York Mets with Jake Hager, Wilfredo Tovar, Cameron Maben hit fourth, I believe, this game. Joneshwi Fargas. And that one was because of COVID. That wasn't by decision. That wasn't by choice. That wasn't like we don't have good players. It was like everyone is sick. We cannot play them. That one might be one of the worst lineups ever. That was legitimately a AAA team with Francisco Lindor hitting third.
Something cool about that lineup is that the Mets were having James McCann play first base and hit cleanup. And last week for the Orioles, James McCann actually did hit cleanup. So maybe they were onto something.
Yeah. I mean, this Tigers lineup, I was watching it yesterday with the boys on Discord, and I was like, Tyler Nevin is hitting second? Are you kidding me? I can't even wrap my head around it. He's like bad. He's not good. Nick Maton leading off. He played third base, shortstop, and third base again yesterday, which is that's so much moving around for a guy. Javi Baez did get benched in this game. Did you see that?
I did see that.
What's the deal? Do you so I don't know if you saw his quote as to what happened. It was a pretty horrible excuse as to why in the first inning or second inning, whenever it happened, there was a line drive hit to center field and he just took off. 1 out, took off, forgot how many outs there were. And his reasoning for why he did that, I got to find the quote now. Where is it? Hold on 1 second. I thought I had it a lot more readily available.
No, that's all right.
But his reasoning was not good by any means. So here's what Javi Baez said. My mind is everywhere right now. I'm just trying to focus on my hitting and my timing. The only reason I lost count of the outs, it was because I was hitting sixth. I thought I was the third batter in that inning. That's the only reason. So the dude basically said, I thought I was the third batter. Surely there's 2 outs because nobody else on this team can hit. So I thought there was 2 outs when the ball went in the air. Do we think he's just kind of given up a little bit? Is this the Pablo Sandoval? I got the bag and I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I don't want to believe that's the case because I do like Javier Baez, like as a player, is very exciting, but it seems like he just does not care about playing much.
It seems like there's nothing to even really care about there. Like the team is so obviously awful.
Bad. We talked about the A's Nationals being like the fight for the worst team. I think it's clearly the Tigers. The Tigers are the worst team in baseball, without a doubt.
I think those other 2 teams are still in the mix. But I think Tigers are awful.
The only thing that the Tigers have going for them is there are 2 guys that are mildly interesting in Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, where you look at the Nationals lineup and you look at the A's lineup and you go, I don't care. I don't care about anybody.
This doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can fix your mic again. But they're so bad. There was a fun stat that I think someone tweeted out about Javi Baez's numbers in stadiums with more fans than when there's not. And apparently his numbers are significantly better when he plays in a stadium where there is a significant amount of fans than when he has played for the Tigers and seemingly no one shows up. Still not a good excuse for how poorly he has been playing because, I mean, he looks like a guy who is not even a AAA player at this point. He looks horrible.
That's like the James Harden strip club Reddit deep dive. Where it's like, why is James Harden playing worse in the cities with the best strip clubs? I don't know. It might be circumstantial or he might just be going to a lot of strip clubs. Like Javi Baez might just need the juice. I think we know he needs the juice, but like, I can't believe it's just this. It's this bad at this point. And I honestly credit to AJ Hinch for like taking the highest paid player in his team and like bringing him to the tunnel, like having a conversation with him and sending him out. I've
been on the stream like every day. I go through the lineups and everything. I'm like, you can't hit Javi Baez second, and then he goes, I'm like, you can't hit him third. I'm like, you can't hit him fourth. Sixth is probably the spot that makes the most sense for him. But then I do see Tyler Nevin hitting second, and I'm like, well, I don't know if that makes the most sense either.
It's also just like this is a young team and they're not good. Like, why not just start the game with Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and Javi Baez? Like, why are we hitting Nick Maton and Tyler Nevin there? Like, why?
Or at least Kerry Carpenter actually does hit the ball hard.
He's playing well,
like,
yeah.
He might be okay. But yeah, there's no reason for Nick Maton and Tyler Nevin to be getting the 2 most at-bats in theory on this team. Both of those guys stink. The Phillies have no depth and said, Nick Maton, Matt Vierling, you're out of here. Don't want you. And those guys would have been integral on that team.
Yeah, that's probably just a bad decision, though.
True. It was probably bad for both.
Because it's a bad trade. Yeah, bad trade all around.
Just like, Gregory Soto, fake good. Everybody on Twitter is going to be like, he throws 100. Surely he's going to be bad good. It's like, no, he's bad. He had bad numbers in Detroit, the pitcher's ballpark. Ryan Kreidler playing third base a lot of the days. Zach McKinstry, Jake Rogers. I got a Tigers fan who DMs me all the time about how great Jake Rogers is. And then you look at his numbers, you're like, well, he still stinks. So I guess this is something to get excited about. And they have no pitching either. I mean, Turnbull did pitch well last night.
Yeah.
But their pitching's also awful too.
It's really bad. Turnbull last night actually looked okay. If anyone plays in like very deep fantasy leagues, his fastball just has not really come back after the Tommy John, nor his sinker. His velocity in general is just down a little bit, but he threw more sliders than any other pitch yesterday. It got a lot of guys out. So I think that's if he just throws like 40% sliders going forward, he might be okay.
Now, you know what's funny about this entire conversation we just had?
Yeah.
The Tigers won yesterday.
Yeah, they won the game. And we're saying
they won the game. They won the game and we're saying all this. 3-9 on the year, beat Chris Bassett, who I think looked better, but is still not really
he looked
sharp.
He looked like quite good yesterday, but he was giving up hard hit balls to Tigers.
Yes, which has got to be a little bit scary if you're a Blue Jays fan. And then Anthony Bass, who I feel like just has not ever been a good reliever. I feel like when he was with the Marlins, he was getting shelled too. Blew the game, which is tough to the Tigers again. Got to say that again.
I think the Blue Jays get a lot more shine than they probably just have deserved credit for over the last few years, like in baseball Twitter, baseball media, because they're so much fun at the top, and then it kind of falls apart very quickly. They're another team where it's just like it just seems like they really need a couple more guys. Like they brought in Whit Merrifield trade deadline last year. He was supposed to be one of these depth pieces they can move around and like use, and he just is not good. Brandon Belt, they tried to bring the career back after a bad year last year.
Yeah.
He doesn't look good at all. Santiago Espinal, your boy, since like July of last year, he has really stopped hitting
since he made the All-Star team. Yeah.
And Kevin Biggio just never took any kind of step forward. Actually continues to take steps backward. They need need something, and I think the something is going to be Addison Barger, a guy in their upper minors who I like a lot. He just hits the ball well. He just hit good play discipline. He's going to be like a second, third baseman for this team very soon because it's very obvious they need him, and they're going to be aggressive because they need some help. Even my boy Alejandro Kirk, he's just not hitting this year. It's not good.
Which might be a thing, by the way. Like Alejandro Kirk very well could just not be that good. I think that's totally in the realm of possibility.
I'm still in. He had a weird offseason. He had some personal stuff.
I'm in for sure. I'm not like done with Alejandro Kirk, but I'm saying like the idea of him being like an elite hitter and catcher at like the size and shape that he is probably
come on.
Is probably unlikely. It's probably unlikely. I'm rooting for him though. I was a Bartolo Colon fan, so I have to root for Alejandro Kirk. But
that was a hit. That was below the belt. That's not that
dude.
Cool.
He's
still barreling the ball, and he still doesn't strike out. He still walks a ton. He still doesn't chase. I'm still ready for the Alejandro Kirk resurgence.
Listen, there's a thick boy on the Mets too that we talk about that's having some troubles as well. It's just how it is.
It is, I guess. I don't know. I'm still an Alejandro Kirk. I'm here.
Fixture Mike, but then we got no Matt Chapman as well in this game. He got pulled right before the game, I think, just scratched from the lineup. I don't know what that was about, but he has been absolutely on fire, on an absolute tear. I think his average exit velo right now on like 35 batted balls is 99 miles an hour, which is just absolutely insane to say out loud how good Matt Chapman has been going into his free agency year. The dude is going to get paid if he keeps playing like this. Obviously, he's not going to hit 400 or 500, which is what he's hovering around right now, but seems like he might just be back.
I mean, the big thing with Chapman was that he had the hip labrum surgery a few years ago. And if you're like a power hitter, especially a guy like Chapman, who's like such a good rotational athlete, like the hip's a pretty big deal. Like if you can't spin your hips around, how are you going to get to power? So then he kind of started overcompensating and he started to try and like catch himself. And then it made him stop being able to get after the high fastball. He had this massive hole in his swing for like 2 years where he couldn't get to high fastballs to save his entire life. And he was with the A's, a team that doesn't really have any coaches. So that's a big deal. So that's tough for him. So he became this like low ball swing and miss guy. And that was a big problem. And then because he was always a guy who like never struck out and hit the ball hard and took walks and like there was no hole in the zone. And then last year, it seems like the Blue Jays, after a few months, like really helped him, trained him, and he got really much better at hitting that high pitch. He doesn't even whiff up there anymore, really. He still whiffs there if it's inside or outside. So far this year, not a great sample, but if anyone wants to see like guys' stats based on zone, Baseball Savant has a really cool thing on their top line. It's like batting, fielding, running, breakdowns, zones. And a guy like Chapman, who had a real problem with the top of the zone, he's now getting to it better. It's not perfect, but now that's not a massive hole anymore. People can't just pick on him there. He's always been an amazing low ball hitter, and it's all coming together again for him.
I want to put this in here and get your take on this. Think the Jays are closer to the Orioles or the Mariners than the Yankees or the Astros? I would say the Mariners, maybe not the Orioles. I think they're definitely better than the Orioles by a decent bit. It's like, but I can agree that they're probably closer to the Mariners than they are Yankees or Astros.
I think that's 100% true. I don't even think that's a question.
Like you said, I mean, sorry, Ahmed, to kind of roast you here, but Jays are not better than the Yankees right now. There's no shot. There's no world.
No, I mean, look at the way, like, the Yankees are on their 8th starting pitcher right now, and they're still winning like most of the games they play.
Who would the Blue Jays' 8th starting pitcher be? Nate Pearson?
No, I don't think he's ever going to be a starter again, sadly, which is a shame because the stuff's amazing. But like, they like go out also, it's breaking news. Alek Manoah looks not that good. Like, that's a huge deal for the Blue Jays. Like, if he's not a superstar, like, this team has a real issue because Gausman is an ace. Like, he's elite.
He's legit, yeah.
Yeah, and his velocity was down his first couple starts, but the splitter was still great and the shape was still great, and it came back. No big deal. It's probably honestly just an issue with the radar gun, whatever park he pitched in. But Bassett looks bad. Manoah looks fat. Barrios looks bad.
You can call Manoah fat. Can't call Alejandro Kirk fat.
It's very different. One of them has good underlying stats. One of them has bad underlying stats. That's what really matters here. But it's like, you're looking at AAA Buffalo. You're like, okay, besides Barger, I guess Ala Lopez has some juice too. Like Pearson, I mean, Yasvar Zuleta, like Thomas Hatch. Like, are these guys going to pitch in the majors this year?
Yeah, I don't think you want them to.
Like, the guy who's going to come up probably before June 1st is Ricky Tiedemann.
Yep,
and
I was about to say Ricky.
He had his AAA debut or AA debut yesterday. Was he AA or AAA? When did he make the start? He's not listed. Yeah, he's listed AA on Fangraphs. So what's AA?
Ricky also has only thrown like 81 innings in his career at a professional level, which is like pitching. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Like, you need a little bit underneath your belt. It would be pretty crazy to bring him up before he hits like 150, right?
No, I don't think that's crazy at all. I think the whole big deal is that last year he threw like 80. So this year he can throw like 110. I'm going to say this. I think there's a barring anything unforeseen, as long as he's healthy, I think it's a 100% chance he pitches in the major leagues this year.
Okay. I like that. I mean, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, and the same thing with Barger. I think Barger's going to come up too. I think those two guys are going to be a huge injection for this team and actually make a big difference. But like Tiedemann yesterday, he got 9 outs. He struck out all 9 guys. He's probably just too good for that level. And then like AA and AAA, we've seen that the last few years. They're kind of the same. So that jump isn't really a big deal. We've all seen a lot of the teams out west kind of just let their pitchers skip AAA because pitching the PCL is a death sentence. We're going to talk about a guy later, Drew Jameson, who the only time he's ever been bad his whole life is in the PCL, and people wrote him off because he's pitching it in basically in Coors Field every single start. So and the Jays also have had no issue in the past with being aggressive with their best prospects, and there's going to be an obvious need for Tiedemann the second something happens to any of these guys.
No, 100%. Next game to talk about here: Pirates versus Cardinals. Pirates 8-5 on the year, second place in the Central, and the Cardinals 5-8. James, what is the Cardinals' problem?
No pitching.
There it is. Although their offense has been quiet like the last few games, so that's why they're losing. But no pitching. They have no pitching, and Jordan Montgomery's probably their best guy,
which is hysterical. But I wanted to stop. We're talking about I like trashing the Cardinals, trashing them in a moment. But I told you like a month and a half ago that the Pirates are going to be kind of sneaky this year.
You did tell me that, and I think I laughed in your face. I was like, this team is bad. And you know what? I'll amend my statement. I don't think they're good, but they're not as bad as I thought they were.
100%. They're a little bit scrappy. Like, you have to play this team, and like there's a lot of guys who are going to make your night kind of annoying. And they lost O'Neal Cruz for like 3 to 4 months now, who's probably the biggest lightning rod in that lineup. But there's a lot of just prospects in that team who it's bad again.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's so annoying. I'm sorry.
Have you done from the microphone spot? Try it like from the part that goes into your mic too. Give it like a good little jiggle. But yeah, I mean, the Pirates yesterday scored 5 off of the Cardinals. Vince Velasquez finally made a good start for like the first time in like 3 or 4 years. And I've been so high on Vince Velasquez. I've been waiting for him to have a good start. He finally had one. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. That's a whip under 1 for Vince Velasquez in a game against a lineup that is loaded. The Cardinals lineup is good. Sometimes you just don't hit, especially when you come into an ace like Vince Velasquez right there. But yeah, finish what you were saying about the Pirates.
They're just scrappy. There's a lot of guys in that team who were like not really necessarily good prospects, but have now gotten a lot of major league experience and like actually like can take Major League Baseball at bats. Like I saw a guy Rodolfo Castro who looked so bad, hit a home run yesterday. It was just like this team is not, they're not really an easy out. The bullpen's also not bad. It's like it's not the worst bullpen in the league, which is a huge step up for a Pirates team that basically has always had the worst bullpen in the league. I don't think David Bednar got in the game yesterday, but we know he's a superstar. Like Ke'Bryan Hayes still is like, he doesn't do, I don't know. How should I describe Ke'Bryan Hayes right now? He
plays third base really well and hits the ball very hard still, but he doesn't hit it in the air.
Yeah. And he's
Yandy Diaz if he wasn't ripped.
And he never strikes out.
Yeah.
Never strikes out. So it's like, that's at least something. But just, I don't know. G-Man Choi is like actually doing okay. McCutchen, like Carlos Santana, like these are professional guys.
Connor Joe loves a hot April. Connor
hit a home run yesterday. And the big thing about this team is that Mitch Keller looks awesome. So like once every 5 days, they have a pitcher who's pitching who's like pretty good. And Vince Velasquez has like kind of decent in the sample so far this year. Like sometimes he's got to turn 31 and he's going to turn there next month. And then that's it. You're set.
Been waiting for that one to hit since the Phillies cut him. I was like, this guy is free. He can be good. I can root for him. Maybe this is the year. Carlos Santana too. That's like a big, they got a couple big veterans in with Carlos Santana, Andrew McCutchen, just to be around these guys, which I think is like kind of cool around these like young players who have no clue what it's like to play good baseball.
And a huge veteran move by Carlos Santana last week when O'Neal Cruz broke his ankle. Just stepping to Sebi Zavala immediately.
To be fair, did you see what Sebi Zavala did after the play? Kind of got brushed over. So O'Neal Cruz came in hard, slides like a baby giraffe because he doesn't really know how his legs work. Like it was not a dirty slide, but I could see how it'd be taken as like, whoa, you came in hard. But O'Neal Cruz writhing in pain, rolling around on the ground. Sebi Zavala had the mask on for the play, took it off, threw it down at O'Neal Cruz and like said something to him. And Carlos Santana took exception to that. That's big brother move right there.
No, it's a good veteran move. Good to have these guys around. And they're like, I don't think the Pirates are even going to win 75 games. Like maybe that's like the high end of what they're going to do, but at least they're going to be competitive, which is more than the Pirates fans could say for the last few years.
They should get some fans in the stadiums. I think they'll definitely get some people coming to watch their games, which is good. On the Cardinals side, they've kind of been a little bit cold. It's going to happen. It's early in the season. I still think they're going to be fine, but they're probably not that clear. Like people, I think, had them as like World Series contenders. People had them as like this team that can make some noise. They're not there. Because why, James? Why?
They have no pitching. It's crazy. Yeah. The Cardinals our whole lives had this like this moniker, this like identity of like this is the pitching organization. What was the Dave Duncan, right? Was the pitching coach who like
Mike? It was Maddox's brother, Mike Maddox. I think he would put the old.
I really think the guy's name was Duncan. I'm not kidding.
Dave Duncan. I don't think is that.
Look, I mean, there was definitely, they had a pitching coach forever who was there, who was like the magician, like the old.
He was a pitching coach there too, but I think Mike Maddox was right after him too. So I think they were part of the. I remember Mike Maddox more, but Dave Duncan definitely was a pitching coach.
But I feel like that was always this team's vibe, where it was like, here, all we're gonna do, we're gonna get these pitchers developing well. Now suddenly they have this ballpark that's like cavernous, and they have all these incredible hitters that they've developed in their own system, and it's kind of hard. And there's no pitching at all. Like Matthew Liberatore looks pretty good right now down in AAA. Like he's gonna come up and make a difference soon. But I think it's kind of telling that he's had good AAA stats for a few years running, and this team still will not put him in the major leagues. And he's always a guy who's had problems with generating any kind of swing and miss or soft contact with his fastball. Like he's got the elite hook, and it's always looked amazing. I think he has a slider too. Like he's a deep repertoire, but he doesn't throw very hard. I know his velocity's up a tick or so right now, but he doesn't miss bats with his fastball. If you're in the major leagues, you don't miss bats with your fastball, you're gonna have a really bad time. And like Jordan Montgomery yesterday, you know how many hard hit balls Jordan Montgomery game up against the Pirates lineup that is Ke'Bryan Hayes, Andrew McCutchen, Carlos Santana. Brian Reynolds didn't play this game.
And they won.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's too
5,
many.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
2 an inning.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's and he still got to the 7th inning with less than 100 pitches.
Yeah.
Almost every single ball the Pirates put in play was smoked.
That's why it's great to pitch in St. Louis. That's why you can get fooled that some of these pitchers are good, even though they're ass, like Miles Michaelis, because they get to play in like the best pitcher ballpark in America.
Jake Woodford's making starts with the team every 5 days, and he's still better than Steven Matz.
Yeah. It's a bad pitching. Bad pitching. Cardinals 5-8. Pirates 8-5. Not the start that you probably expected from either of these teams here. Last game of the night before we start talking about the rookies. Brewers versus the Padres. Brewers get another win over another good team. Move to 9-4 in the National League Central. They're just a good team. They're just simply good. And on the mound for them yesterday, I believe it was Colin Ray making a spot start because Brandon Woodruff went down with shoulder inflammation. And Colin Ray looked pretty good against this Padres lineup.
this Colin Ray thing is especially funny because he was at once upon a time like a legitimate prospect for the Padres.
Yes.
And then he would kind of bounce around. He was never good. I think he either went to Japan or Korea last year. I forgot which. And now it was like he went to Japan or Korea. It's like, oh, your pitches look a little different. Maybe you're not that bad actually. And he's still only sitting like 92, 93. So nothing crazy there. But he's got a splitter that's really dropping a lot. Looks kind of decent. And it's just, I don't think he's like going to be very good, but Cutter happening.
Yeah.
It's like every 10 minutes.
It's nuts how it keeps happening. I don't know what it is. But yeah, Colin Ray was in last year. Where did he go? He was with the SoftBank the Hawks. That is Kodai Senga. He got the pitch with Kodai Senga. Maybe you learned taught him a little bit about the ghost fork over there. I don't think he did, but yeah, I mean, Colin Ray made a good start yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think by any means good, but like,
yeah,
the guy who the Brewers can just pull out of thin air and be like, oh, give us a quality start. And be like, yeah, sure, I got you.
And then, of course, they just pull out guys like Matt Strzelecki. Joel Payamps all of a sudden is going to be just dominant because, of course, he would be with the Brewers. And they have a good little offense. Rowdy Tellez heating up a little bit, had an incredibly slow start to the season, heating up a little bit, got his third home run of the year. Mike Brasso doing Mike Brasso things, hitting home runs in San Diego. He loves hitting there. Remember the home run against Aroldis Chapman, which was fantastic.
I forgot that was in San Diego. That's funny.
Yeah, that was in San Diego. So
I'll never forget that. Yeah, Brian Anderson also 3 more hard hit balls. William Contreras just got dropped in the middle of that order. He looks like a very good hitter. This Brewers team did a lot of good things in the offseason. Credit to us for singing their praises before the season began. And just like, I really think this Brewers team is really good. Like any team that couldn't beat this Brewers team, I don't think it really reflects poorly on them in any way. No way. Like there's nothing wrong with not being able to beat the Brewers. Nothing.
I mean, I could say you could get swept by the Brewers and it really wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I'd go as far as say you could get swept by the Brewers. And I think you'd probably still be considered one of the better teams in the National League.
100%. And it's because the Brewers are that good.
Brewers are awesome. Brewers are dynamite right now.
Yeah, no, and the Padres, I mean, Machado got his first home run of the year, which is probably big for them because he's been like weirdly cold. Juan Soto still looks confused and very in between what kind of player he wants to be. He's doing that Joey Votto thing that we saw Votto do a couple years ago. I'm just worried about making sure everybody knows how good my eye is. And like, he's taken a lot of really, really close 2-strike pitches. Bengal was telling me this yesterday. He's like, not to sound like an old man, like, with an old man take here, but like what happened to a 2-strike approach? Juan Soto seems like he's like, I'm going to try and take the best pitches possible. And it's just burning him right now, which is like, be aggressive. You're trying to get paid in a couple of years. Go swing, hit home runs.
I don't know. He might just be in his head a little bit. He probably is. Like he was so good so early. Like if he kept on that trajectory, he would have been the best baseball player ever. Like you need some challenges in your development. Maybe someone found a hole. Maybe someone found a way to get Juan Soto out. We're not really giving credit to the rest of the league here. And also this Padres lineup, we said it on the Messed Up podcast last week. There's popcorn muscles. Yes. They didn't have a hit after the 5 spot in the order yesterday until Jose Azocar, the pinch hit single. So it's like that. It's just like Ruben Lindor is getting at bats every day. Ha-Seong Kim, while he is a good little ball player, like he is a consummate like 7 hitter. Like he's going to hit it for not that much power. He knows hit for a lot this year. Cronenworth's had a really bad start to the season. Yeah, really, really bad. Like Austin Nola just doesn't look very good back there at all as with the bat. Like this team, once you get past those 4 guys, and I give Nelson Cruz his credit, right, because he is hitting the shit out of the ball so far this year. And Trent Grisham looks okay again, which is kind of funny. Like he looks okay in the very Trent Grisham way, where he's going to get like 3 hits a week and maybe 1 or 2 will go out of the ballpark. But this team like looks like it really needs one more bat, which is kind of funny considering how many amazing bats they've gotten.
Well, they got a bat coming in just under a week. Yeah, on a 420. Little man by the name of Fernando Tatis Jr. will be back with the San Diego Padres for the first time in a very long time after the steroid suspensions, injuries, litany of issues. But Tatis is back, and I don't know if you saw last night, he made some noise in AAA with a 3-home-run game, 4 home runs on the year. I think he has like a 1,700 OPS in AAA right now, which is hilarious because like the idea of Fernando Tatis getting regular reps against AAA pitching is like so fun. It might completely ruin some guy's stat line this year, depending on when they get to face him. Tatis is he's going to come back. He's going to make this lineup feel definitely a lot better.
I think a lot of people don't really realize he's like one of the best players in baseball. It's like
I think like with a healthy season, he's a top 5 player in the league. And talent wise, at least just strictly at the plate, I don't know what he's going to look like in the outfield. It's probably going to be a mess, but at least they're not putting him in center field. They're putting him in right. And he has played a little bit of outfield, at least, unlike another young shortstop who's playing center field right now in baseball. But Tatis, for those of you guys don't know, granted, he's never played more than 130 games in a season. Won't do it again this year. But his 162-game average is laughably funny. 48 home runs, 33 doubles, 5 triples, 116 RBIs while stealing 31 bases, hitting .293 with a 369 on base, 596 slugging, 965 OPS. Granted, it's 162 games. He'll probably never do that with the nature of Fernando Tatis. But just to show you how special of a player he is, that is the best player in baseball if he puts up those numbers for a full season. It's pretty hard to beat that.
It's pretty hard to beat that. And I think that a lot of people are holding against him the fact that he just like did steroids, which is super fair. Like can't hate that. But he's going to come back and be amazing.
Yeah.
Like he is. He's going to be amazing. I'm hoping also, like, we haven't seen anything from him in a very long time. And he had a really, like, even past the steroids, people forgot that he, like, openly just was riding motorbikes in the offseason, like, breaking his wrist and not caring at all about it. Someone said, wow, what happened when you crashed your bike? He said, which time? Like, this team could have won a World Series last year if he didn't get popped for taking steroids. And I think, I'm sure this is a very veteran group with a very experienced manager, Bob Melvin. I'm sure people sat him down and was like, what do you want here? Like, is this legit for you? And
100%.
The fact that they went out and they paid Xander Bogaerts, they paid Manny Machado, they traded the farm for Juan Soto. They're like, we don't need you anymore. We'd like to have you, but you are no longer the face of this franchise, like very obviously. And I think the chance that resonates with him.
Yeah, fix your mic when you get a chance here. It is kind of like every 10 minutes. I'm looking at the clock. It's pretty much every 10 minutes, which is interesting. But yeah, Tatis, like, it's also crazy too that from what we've seen from Tatis, like, take out the off the field stuff that we know has been going on. But imagine telling yourself that Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be pushed out of the shortstop spot because they got like other players, not because like of ability or anything, just because he's kind of a bit of a liability at times. Like, that is the only smirk or like mark on Fernando Tatis right now, or smudge, is that definitely needs to get his head right a little bit. Needs to maybe think about his priorities. Seems like his decision making maybe hasn't been the best, especially with like the contract and how much money he had to give to an agent to get him that contract, which was also crazy. Basically, like, sold his soul a little bit and only is going to get like half of that $300 million, which is still a ton of money, but not as much as 300. That would be the only concern with me, is the off the field stuff. But obviously on the field, he's unbelievable. Probably one of the most talented players in baseball.
And there's a chance that he did just actually mature a lot after all this happened.
Yeah.
Like,
hopefully, I really hope he has. I love Fernando Tatis Jr., even though he's on the Padres, who are like kind of this weird rival with the Mets right now. I want him to be really, really good. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's good for the game of baseball. Like, so many people became baseball fans or came back into baseball because of seeing what guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. were doing. Just, I want him to be healthy. I want him to play. And I want him to shut up the haters too, because the haters of Fernando Tatis Jr. are got to be the group of the dumbest and most annoying baseball fans in the sport. Like, they're like, he's not that good, he's overrated, and I hate him. Like, shut up.
That's the thing. I feel like I don't think it's crazy to hate him, because he has been a bit of an asshole in his career.
Yes.
Like, for all the stuff we talked about, for taking steroids in general. Like, I understand for that. Okay, F this guy, sure. But you can't hate him as a baseball player. Like, no. He's pure electricity. He's also just like, he doesn't even look like other baseball players. Like, he's bendy. He's not like strong. Like, he's got the dreadlocks. It's like freaky what he can do on a baseball field. So like, being able to appreciate that is one thing, while also being like, he's kind of a jerk.
Literally looks like he was made in the lab. Like, you made a creative player on MLB The Show and you're like, I'm going to make his triceps bigger and I'm going to make his legs longer. He just doesn't really, like you said, look like a baseball player. Excited for him to come back. April 20th, I believe, is his debut for the season. First time since 2021, he will be in a Major League Baseball game. That's crazy to say out loud. But I'm excited to see Tatis back. And that was it for the games. That was it. That takes us to the end of the day. Today, obviously, all the games are playing. All the teams are playing. Series are back to complete normal. Some fun series to keep an eye out for here. I want to watch a little bit of those Rangers Astros. I think that one's going to be like the most intriguing series, because you're getting the Astros, who are starting the year a little bit slow, but we know are still the best team in baseball, probably going up against the Rangers, who have started the year hot and could be maybe competing for a playoff spot this year.
The Astros might be the best team in baseball, but they still, like, I think people are underselling what the loss of Justin Verlander did mean for that team.
Sure.
Like, he had like a 2.3 ERA last year in 200 innings. Like, the Astros do create pitchers in the laboratory, but that's still a lot to actually replace. And the Rangers, by all accounts, looks like they acquired the best pitcher in baseball in the offseason, which that's a huge swing inside of a division. I don't think the Rangers will compete for the division, but they do have the tools to make it interesting, at least down a little bit more than most of the other teams that division will. All the Angels and the Mariners got all the publicity, and the Rangers very quietly did a lot of good things. And
yes,
I think it's going to be interesting. Also, I like the Texas thing, the dual Texas rivalry.
Of course. Yeah, it'd be cool to make that a rivalry, especially because like it is kind of new since the Astros played in the National League for forever, for a very long time. So now they're American League. Rangers kind of haven't been good since I feel like they've been in the American League. They've never been good at the same time, at least. Because when the Astros came over to the American League at the start too, they were ass. They were really, really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, big blow for the Rangers though. Corey Seager just being out for a month. That really sucks because it looks like
who's going to play shortstop for them?
Probably Josh Smith. Glove.
Do you think that they would move Simeon to short and then maybe try and sneak someone in at second?
I tell you what, for my dynasty team, that would be a real blessing because the only oh wow, I would love that. I mean, I guess they might as well. And then you think that's a good question. I'm sure they'll just defer to Simeon for that.
Yeah,
be like, do you want to play short? Or do you want to what do you want to do here?
Who legitimately could come up and play second for them? That would be more exciting than Josh Smith. Who
Ezekiel Duran? If you think he's more exciting than Josh Smith.
I guess, yeah,
maybe.
that would be your option. Let's see their other infielders. You can give Foscue a shot if you want to, if you think he's ready.
I think
that's pretty much it, though.
Why wouldn't he be ready? He's Rule 5 eligible. He's 24 years old. He has to play this year, so this is probably might just be the moment for him.
Wow, their minors got some interesting names in there, like Yoshi Satsugo. You got Clint Frazier, although I thought he wanted to go by Jackson, but apparently he's back to Clint. That guy will never be good, though, so it doesn't matter. And that's my ripping on Clint Frazier for the day. Other series, Blue Jays. Rays. They actually have a challenge here. The Rays going for 14-0. They'll be making history. Drew Rasmussen versus Jose Barrios. I'm not going to kiss a death it, but I think you guys can all read between the lines there.
I mean, I love Drew Rasmussen right now, and we'll see what happens with Barrios here. Just maybe being a lefty kind of does something to the Rays, but geez, I love Drew Rasmussen right now. He looks so good.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about these rookies here because there have been some outstanding rookies. Calling this a little bit of the rookie report. James did some extensive notes for this when he sent them over to me. I love to see that. Do we want to start off by saying the guys who have been maybe a little disappointing, like the most disappointing rookies of the season thus far?
I'm down for that. I tiered these as like really good, in the middle, and then bad. So we down to start the bad guys, and then get more fun as we go. I'm going to be preemptive. I'm going to unplug and replug my mic now.
Ooh, smart. So
maybe there's a good chance we could cut this as a video and it doesn't like, oh, James, your mic screwed up.
100%. Emily Ann, yes, you did make it in time. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate everybody out here. Make sure you guys subscribe to the stream Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, every single day during the week. And the stream's only going to get better. We've been still working out the kinks here on my side, but I think this weekend I'm really going to, clean things up a little bit, hopefully, and we'll be ready to roll for like some graphics, some videos, some real professional looking stuff here. So let's go ahead and talk about who the most disappointing rookies have been to start the 2023 season. There's been a lot of great ones. We're going to talk about that. That'll be a separate video. But most disappointing right now, I mean, I'm going to start it off with a guy that I was like super excited to see finally get everyday play for the Boston Red Sox. It's going to be Tristan Casas. That was a guy who had always had like great plate discipline, had big power potential, looked great in the minors with the Red Sox, and he has been playing every day thus far, and he has looked about as bad as you can look. The power, like only 2 home runs, hit 132 with a 190 on base, 342 slugging, 533 OPS. It's 13 games, so you take everything with a grain of salt, but he's not walking at all, really. Like 7% walk rate is big time down for him, and he's striking out more. I am genuinely concerned with Tristan Casas right now of like where he's going to be.
And I think that genuine concern is probably real because we're at the point in the season now. It's only been 2 weeks, but we're seeing a lot of guys per pitch statistics stabilize because guys have seen between like 200 and 400 pitches depending on their roles. Casas seen 170, so we probably are like 2/3 away for the sample being legitimate. But something that made Casas really exciting at the end of last year was how selective he was and how much he commanded the strike zone. He walked 20% of the time in a small sample last year, which was really impressive. And with that big walk rate, that was a very low swing rate. Again, he was very selective. He only swung 38% of the time, and he was only chasing 17% of the time, which is more than 10 points below league average. Seems like right now he's very much pressing. He is swinging a lot more, over 50% of the time, up from 38% last year, and chasing a ton more, 30% of the time after 17% last year. So he went from a guy who had one of the better chase rates in the entire league to a guy who was slightly worse than league average very quickly. That tells me that because you see the skill set that come through the minor leagues, like he is a guy who should be selective, who should take his pitches, who should draw a lot of walks. So this does feel like a guy who's pressing, squeezing the bat a little tight, trying to make a difference for a team that is struggling, and they probably do expect at least something out of this roster. So he looks like maybe putting a little bit too much on his shoulders. But there was an adjustment by the league. He is seeing more pitches inside the strike zone, so that is probably something that people realize he's just not going to swing. So he's throwing some strikes. Now maybe he's over adjusting to that, but there is some certain concern with Tristan Casas right now in the near term.
I think the pressing is obvious too, based on the fact that he walked yesterday and he had like a big celebration at the plate. He got pumped for his walk. So that tells you that he's thinking about like every single at bat, every pitch. Like, I need to do something for this team. They are just throwing him in the middle of the lineup still, though. They're not really babying him. They're like, figure it out. Like, and I kind of respect that. We've talked about that with some of these other guys that are struggling too. Just throw them into the fire and see what they got.
Yeah, at that point, like, who do you have to lose? Like, Rob Refsnyder sitting third. What does the middle of the order matter? Is that an achievement?
Yeah, at that point, what does it matter? All right, who do you got as another guy who's been disappointing?
One of the most disappointing guys I've seen in the whole league this year. I mean, we're going to love to crap on the Yankees, but I'm going to actually give some confidence to Anthony Volpe in a little bit. Ezekiel Tovar and the Rockies, man.
Yeah,
he looks incapable right now of hitting major league pitching, which is, I mean, he's someone who I wasn't particularly high on. So I'm almost saying this is like, I don't want to take a victory lap because I don't want any player to not succeed, but he just wasn't a guy who hit for any power in the minor leagues. He was a guy who really was going to get by in a hit tool, never really drew any walks. Not one organization who seems to really teach anybody anything.
No.
And no one really makes strides as a Colorado Rocky. You just kind of are what you are. And he can't even come close to hitting a ball hard. He actually is lifting the ball more than I thought, which is a little bit cause for something good, but he's chasing. He's swinging a lot. He's swinging and missing. Like, he's just, I don't know. And when he hits it, it's just very weak. It's very weak contact. Yeah. He's one of the worst expected wOBAs in the entire league. Like, he's not walking either ever. It just looks like not a skill set that's ready for the major leagues. Yeah,
Tovar was a guy that I was super high on. We saw him in the fall league when we went, and I fell in love with the swing. I was like, oh, this dude's a ball player. This dude can swing it. And he did play really well in the minors last year. Granted, didn't play like almost at all in AAA in his entire career. And it looks like it's showing a little bit, something that we've seen with some guys that have come up and had a little bit of difficulty. There's like that the biggest jump in sports is from AAA to Major League Baseball. And it seems like he didn't even really get that AAA shot. And it's really showing right now. Because like you said, he's just kind of just getting exposed a little bit, striking out a little bit, not really hitting for any power. I still think he's a very good hitter, and I think there might be a player there. He is 21 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say
played 5 games at AAA, so I don't think this is a lost cause by any means. But maybe, just maybe, he wasn't ready yet, especially in the lineup that has no protection.
And this is the risk you run when you over-promote these guys like this, and that's kind of scary. Now you have Ezekiel Tovar, who just got his first cup of coffee, and he looks completely overmatched. He really especially struggling against breaking balls. Like, just can't really find anything against them. And that's going to happen because every single day sees a better breaking ball than he ever saw for 1 second in the minor leagues. He's 21 years old. Like, what are the Rockies doing? Why are these, like, there's other teams that have players in the minor leagues who are hitting the crap out of the ball with tons of upper minors experience. Ezekiel Tovar never played AAA. The Rockies are like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Just play the majors. Let's have some fun. You like Denver? Come out.
It's the Rockies. They need to try and sell tickets, and they're like, we have a prospect. Come watch him. And then you watch him, and you're like, oh, he's not ready.
And like, he didn't look good last year in like the 10 games he played at the end of the seasons. They were like, oh, yeah, no, fine, good. Throw him back.
100%. Talk about another rookie that has been quite disappointing. Someone that I went back and forth on him, and I loved the move of going to Arizona. But Gabriel Moreno, for as much as every prospect guy in the world was really bumping him up at times to be ahead of a dude that we love, Francisco Alvarez. I didn't get it last year, but I was like, all right, maybe it was a small sample. I was being hard on him. I have him on a couple fantasy teams. Maybe this year he's going to play in Arizona, hitter-friendly park. He's going to get everyday playing time. It seems like he's going to be good. He looks bad. Like, I don't see what everyone else saw, and I don't know how they ever saw it, honestly.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually think he's kind of a buy low right now. I kind of think he does.
Do your mic again.
I'll just say again, sorry everybody again, but I really think he's a bit of a buy low right now. I see a lot of things that look really okay with his game at the second. Like, he's making a ton of contact. One thing is really bad. He's not trying to walk.
No, hasn't had one. Him and Corbin Carroll weirdly haven't walked this year.
Really weird. But he's also not lifting the ball, which I think was the biggest issue with him as like a prospect in general. But he's still young, especially for a catcher that's in the major leagues, 23 years old, which is hilarious because Francisco Alvarez is 21. But yeah, he's hitting the ball hard, even though it is on the ground. And it's a lot of contact, He's not striking out that much. He seems like a better athlete than I thought too. Like, he's 70th percentile sprint speed, which is decent. His whiff rate's league average. His barrel, he's like getting to the barrels a couple times. I think I'm confident in Gabriel Moreno's hit tool, which was the thing that was always driving his prospect profile. Like, I think he's going to put enough balls in play hard enough to make it okay.
Does he have like any power though? Like,
he does. I mean, he's hitting the ball hard.
I just feel like every time I like watch him, and just like from what I've seen, again, it's small sample. He only has 100 plate appearances, so I've seen maybe 25 of them. But in like those 25 that I've seen, I'm like, man, I just don't know how this guy's going to hit more than like 10 home runs a year. He feels like he's just kind of, I don't know. To me, he's
I kind of see the but something that's really cool about Moreno always has been is that while he never really has the power to like hit the shit out of a baseball, like his max exit velocity, I think is only 105, he doesn't often not hit it well. Okay. Like he has barely any pop up his entire career. Like he doesn't hit dribblers. Like he's a guy who, whenever he does make the contact, it is some real contact. Even though the top end of that power is not there, the hit tool I think is that good, where he's always finding a way to get that barrel on the baseball. And that's something I think keep an eye on. And he is pulling the ball a little bit more than even I expected at this point in his career. He's everything. He's like the classic hitter. It's all up the middle. He always hits the ball up the middle. Like if you look at his like straightaway stats, it's kind of hilarious. Not that many bad the balls yet, but even combining last year and this year, it's like 50% of the balls are right back up the chute.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but
that is funny.
The hit tool works. And even as weird as he's looked so far, I still believe in it.
Okay. Who's another rookie that's been a little disappointing to you? We'll throw like 2 more out here.
Yeah, I mean Anthony Volpe. It's pretty obvious. That guy is not ready for Major League Baseball. He seems like he's over adjusting right now because he's hitting. Yeah, everyone heard the police siren too. Real fun doing the stream with James out in Brooklyn.
New York, baby.
Yeah, he's got to do it. He's hitting a lot of fly balls. He's not really chasing or whiffing, but like he just can't seem to figure out breaking balls. Like there's been a couple at bats where it's like, you're kind of not looking good, man. And it just doesn't look that good right now. It doesn't look that good. It might look better soon. I don't think by any means I'm down on Anthony Volpe for a career, because he actually has looked decent at shortstop, which is a big deal. And the one day the Yankees actually didn't hit him ninth, they hit him first ahead of Aaron Judge. He got a hit and was taking some better looking at bats, but he looks so small.
Yeah.
As crazy as that is to say, like it just looks like, how is he going to get to this power?
5'9", 180 feels generous with Anthony Volpe, to say the least. I mean, he looks, I'm about 5'9", 165. Definitely looks closer to that than what he's listed at right now. He's a little dude. Like you said, I haven't lost faith in his career yet. He's another one of those guys. Didn't have a lot of time in AAA, only 22 games, 100 plate appearances at the AAA level. And they weren't good plate appearances by any means. His strikeout rate was way higher in AAA than it had been at any other minor league level. I think they need to lead him off, though. We talked about this off stream when we were out at the bar the other night about like, why not give Volpe a little bit of like the Taylor Ward treatment of just hit him first, let him hit in front of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Rizzo so that they have to throw the guy. Don't make them force him to be patient. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he's a guy very opposite of Moreno. Like he is a good hit tool guy, but it's not like that's not his elite calling card. His elite calling card is supposed to be like pitch selection, his ability to get to his power from his frame. I hate average exit velocity. It's a bad stat because it gets kind of misweighted by like any ball that's like really like pop-ups or whatever, soft ground balls, especially not that many batted balls, is going to really make it average look bad. Because average exit velocity is 85.
Oof.
It's really, really bad.
For really those of you at home, I hit in a Hit Tracks thing last summer with Eric Sim, King of JUCO. My average exit velo was right around 85.
Okay, so there you go. You and Volpe. And body type kind of similar, and from the same area in New Jersey. And it really just looks like he's not ready. The Yankees really tried to force the round peg into the square hole here, and just you're probably running the risk right now, really killing his confidence. And it's probably not worth it.
Mike again. Yeah, I mean, with Volpe, like we said, we don't think the career is by any means like altered based on what's happening here. Yankees kind of had to play him. It was either him or Peraza, and to be fair, I would pick Volpe over Peraza too. I'm not like a huge Oswald Peraza guy. I don't see it like career-wise, where I think Volpe could have an amazing career for the Yankees. But yeah, off to a slow start. Last guy I'm going to mention as my most disappointing player, Shintaro Fujinami. I know that he had some really good stuff coming into the year. It was probably not fair to expect him to be as good as I thought he maybe could be, especially with the Oakland A's, who we know are just not really a great organization, especially at like developing players, not particularly that great, but he just hasn't looked good at all. And I know we've talked about this on the Messed Up podcast, that Fujinami just doesn't really know where the ball is going. And that seems like to be what's happening here. And the stuff isn't actually that bad, but I don't know if he's going to be able to find where the ball is going with the Oakland A's.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think Fujinami's best path forward as a really successful major leaguer is probably a reliever, because he'll just throw 100 miles an hour with like a really nasty slider and a splitter. And it's like, all right, figure that out. If I don't know where it's going, I'll throw like 12 of these. Yeah. Who really cares? But it's hard to be any kind of successful in the major leagues when you've had two or three starts now, and he's walking one out of 5 hitters.
Yeah, that's not great.
Really bad. It's really, really bad.
Who's your last guy here that you're going to say is most disappointing?
I'm gonna mix two together because I like two guys who I still like a lot for their careers. There's two former Yankees who were traded last year, Ken Waldichuk and Hayden Wisniewski, both just getting mauled right now.
Yeah,
Waldichuk's fastball it's still like missing some bats, but when people hit it, it just goes a million feet. And Wisniewski, his whole thing was his fastball wasn't good, but his sinker was, and he was throwing more sinkers when he was like last year. And his sweeper still looks great, but now he's throwing more four-seam fastballs, and they don't look good. And he is not missing any bats, and he is getting eviscerated.
Yeah, he's getting shelled. Those guys have not looked good. We talk a lot about, baseball off the show, and you've been a huge Waldichuk and Wisniewski guy. Like since
more Wisniewski than Waldichuk, but yeah,
yes,
like them both.
You've been like, these guys are good. I can't believe the Yankees kind of just got rid of them for like kind of nothing right now. I know Efros might be good, but he's hurt, and Frankie Montas is dead. So, I mean, he hasn't pitched in like a year and a half, and I don't know when he's going to pitch. But yeah, they've been getting crushed. Shout out to Ken Waldichuk, really making some fantasy matchups close in my dynasty league because he got like negative 70 points last week. So he's making it close. But yeah, they've just not looked good. And it's, again, two organizations I don't really trust either. A's and Cubs. Don't trust either of them.
I trust the Cubs significantly more than the A's.
Well, yeah, but that's like 0% confidence and comparing like 25% confidence. They're still low.
I think the Cubs are more of like middle of the pack in terms of confidence right now. They're doing some scrappy, fun stuff. I think even just the fact that they traded a guy like Scal Efros for a guy like Hayden Wisniewski, I think shows that they're more competent than they have been the last few years.
Maybe that they're at least thinking better.
Yeah. Maybe like between like the 35th and the 48th percentile. Not yet 50th, but they're moving there.
I mean, yeah, it's still early in the season for a lot of these rookies. I don't think any of them are like, you suck, you're dead. But definitely disappointing starts for these guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the guys who are really surprisingly good, though, now, I think. And then we'll talk about middle of the pack at the end. That's just not really its own video. We can just have a fun conversation about those guys. But most impressive rookies as far as the 2023 season, I feel like we got to start off with the most impressive one, and that's Jordan Walker. The conversation starts and ends with Jordan Walker. Had a hit in every single game except last night. The hitting streak ended. So, that the magical start to the career might be over, per se, in quotation marks. But God, he looks so awesome. And I know he's only hitting ground balls, but he's hitting them really, really hard. And he just feels like he's probably going to be that special player this year.
He's crazily like it really doesn't even look that good, like under the radar, but he takes his at bats and he's this big hulking 20-year-old dude. And you're like, wow, this guy looks really good. But like, he just hits it so hard that sometimes guys can't field it, like, which is kind of hilarious. But like, it's all on the ground. He only has one walk. He's chasing a ton. He's more hit by pitches than walks so far in his young career, which is pretty funny. 2 versus 1, keeping the on base percentage decent. But it's the fact that he doesn't look good right now and is still this good, like results wise, is kind of silly. And he might just be that dude.
The comparison that is really bad to make, but I'm gonna make it because everything just kind of lines up, is going to be another young prospect who made a debut from opening day as a 21-year-old. And that would be young Albert Pujols, who you guys might remember, big prospect, third baseman, but they moved him to left field his rookie year because they needed to make sure they had a spot for him. Played a little bit of left field, hit the ball hard, had a great rookie year. And I don't think Jordan Walker is going to finish 4th in the MVP this year. I'm not getting those vibes whatsoever, but rookie of the year, definitely still in play for Jordan Walker, probably the favorite right now in the National League. I just see some comparisons here with just the size, the way that they've come up so young. They both hit the ball really hard. It's hard not to make that one-to-one there, especially when it's the same team.
Jordan Walker is conservatively 4 years younger than Pujols was.
Okay, yeah, we know that. Wait, fix your mic.
Like, Jordan Walker's a true 20. Like, he's 20 years old. He's the youngest player in Major League Baseball. Is that true?
I don't know if he probably is. I think he has to be at that age.
All the other guys are 21. I don't know if any other 20s, but also, I don't think he's the most impressive rookie in the National League. I think that's incredibly disrespectful because there's one guy who's been significantly more impressive.
Is it on our favorite team?
It is on our favorite team.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about him in a minute. But like offensively speaking, he has been the most impressive.
He's been the most impressive, I think, relative to age and experience level. But I do think there are a couple of rookies in the National League who are definitely being more productive than him and have done a lot more to prove their future forward than him. Like Walker, whatever happened these first couple weeks of the season.
Yep. Honestly, do you want to just switch it to your Apple headphone mic? Try it out. Let's see what it sounds like. That's crazy. This is happening.
This has never happened before.
We got to figure this out before we have to record the next episode. Vito's going to go crazy.
I know. Is it better or worse?
I mean, it sounds worse, but it's better because we're just
never going to get shitty. Yeah, right, whatever. But Yeah, I'll try. Maybe 10 more minutes, I'll give him another shot. But I think with Walker, like whatever's going to happen these first couple weeks, then you kind of take it or leave it because he's that elite of a prospect and he has this much amazing stuff behind him, like pushing him, and he's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
So like it was all house money. What was going on with Jordan Walker here? Like if it was shit, we have 3 other good outfielders, 4 others on the roster alone. Send him down, go to AAA, hit the shit out of the ball, come back up in June. You'll be super confident, try it again. But there's 2 other guys in the National League who I think hitters who were kind of overlooked heading into the season who look amazing. One's James Outman and one is Spencer Steer.
Now, I got to tell you, I the other night, I feel like I said, I'm so in on James Outman. This dude is my guy. So I'm glad to see that you're putting him on like the high up here.
I was never out on Outman, but you said I think he could win Rookie of the Year, and I told you 0% chance of that.
Why can't he win Rookie of the Year?
I am still holding the line. There's no way James Outman wins Rookie of the Year because there's still some things he's doing that it's insane. But the power that he's getting to in this Dodgers lineup as a left-handed bat, who they have been using in their lineup a little bit against lefties, a little bit more. He's becoming actually an everyday player for them, which is important. He already has 6 barrels on the season. 6. He's only played like 9 games.
Yeah.
I put the stat here just to put barrels in context right here. David Fletcher, 3 barrels his entire career. He doesn't have one since 2020. So just about how valuable barrels are and what the difference is to players who get them or not. But the issue with Outman is the issue we kind of had in the minor leagues as well, is that he just swings and misses a lot. He takes war hacks, and that's helping him a lot right now. That's how he's getting to all this crazy power. But eventually, people are going to figure something out about him. James Outman is not Barry Bonds.
Now, I'm gonna say one thing, and it has to do with the prospect Zach Neto. So it could just be a change in approach too. Like this might be something that we might see some teams start to do a little bit more of, is when there's like less than 2 strikes, I'm going to take my war hack. I'm going to try to hit the ball as physically hard as possible. Something you saw with like Jose Bautista, Josh Donaldson when they made that change with the Blue Jays. Once there's 2 strikes, I shorten up. I maybe lower the leg kick a little bit. Maybe I take a little bit of a shorter swing. There's a world, like I can understand where you're coming from, like high whiff rate, low chase rate, doesn't strike out that much, doesn't make that much sense. But I think there's like some actual truth to it in that you might just be changing up your approach with 2 strikes.
Maybe, but I don't know if we can even like bear it out yet because we haven't seen enough pitches with 2 strikes to be significant. But I've never seen someone as extreme as Outman, where he has right now almost the worst whiff rate in the entire league and one of the best chase rates. Like it's not like he's okay at one, not okay at the other. It's one of the worst and then one of the best back to back. And past that, like he's been playing good outfield. He's got great sprint speed. Again, when he gets to the power, like he's a big dude, like 6'3", 220.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting the shit out of the ball. And he's really, when he hits home runs, these are not cheapies. Like he is getting to that power. But it's just the fact that he never ever chases out of the zone, but he whiffs all the time pitches in the zone. There definitely is a hole there. I feel like that means, and there's probably something's going to happen.
What's his percentile on whiff rate right now? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Yeah. It's the first.
Oh, it's literally like
he's one of the chase rate's 97th, whiff rate is first. So he has one of the worst whiff rates in baseball, and he has one of the best chase rates.
I'm going back to my Jose Bautista thing that I was saying. It's not nearly as extreme as what you just said, but Bautista in 2015, that great year that he had, 97th percentile in chase rate, 55th in whiff rate.
Yeah. If this whiff rate was 20, I would tell you there even is a chance for him to win Rookie of the Year because he can get to that, and Dodgers are going to play him every day in the middle of a good lineup. But the fact that it's literally one of the worst in baseball means there has to be something wrong here. Someone's going to figure it out.
That is actually kind of shocking that it's that low. I thought you were going to tell me, oh, you know who else had this? Okay, I got one for you.
Here we go.
The 2 names I hit on the head were Bautista and Donaldson. I was so cash money. It's unbelievable how right I was. And that was just simply off me taking a shot in the dark from what I have seen as a fan. Donaldson 2015, 89th percentile chase rate, 23rd percentile whiff rate. So yeah, still going back to what you said, neither of them are the worst whiff rate in the league, but there is a way to be unbelievably successful while still swinging and missing, but also not chasing, which makes no sense.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe it just doesn't. Maybe it's just something that happens for months before people figure out how to get James Outman out. But the fact that's happening in such extremes is crazy. And I'm excited to see how this happens. And he is a good ball player for sure.
Yeah, the other guy, Spencer Steer, who has another guy who just looks like a straight-up ball player, a phrase we love to use here. I love saying, this guy's a ball player. He doesn't really have a spot in the field. Third base is kind of where the Reds just stick you, like we said. But the dude can swing it very well. The Reds gave him up for Tyler Mahle, so they got like a decent value back for this guy. The Twins traded him for Tyler Mahle. That's what I meant to say. So I got decent value back at least. But looks like he might be a good little cornerstone of this Reds franchise moving forward.
At least as a bat. Again, the position third base still doesn't really look good. He was really bad during spring training. He's been less bad so far in the regular season, but he walked onto the field, 25-year-old college hitter, third-round draft pick. Like, he was a guy who was relatively more polished as a hitter than a lot of other prospects coming through. It still has taken him a few years. But his play discipline is so good. It's so good. He never whiffs or chases. And he's a really good athlete, 80th percentile sprint speed, and he walks a lot, and he doesn't strike out. He's really good. He's really good. And he's lifting the ball. Like, for a guy who comes up, like, big things for these prospects is getting the ball in the air and then being able to pull it. He's doing both of those really well. He hit a home run. I think that was like 440 feet last week, like the dead center. Like, he is crushing the baseball. He looks awesome. I'm really, 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 really confident in Spencer Steer as a bat.
100%. Any other bat that's sticking out to you right now?
I mean, another big one. I mean, your boy, Josh Young.
Yes.
Looks awesome.
Yes. Josh James on the Josh Young train.
I mean, I liked Josh Young back in the day. No, I say back in the day, like 2 years ago, I was really high on him as a prospect. Then he came up last year and he played that like quarter of a season. He struck out every single time. So I was like, if you can't strike out that much and be okay. But then he cut that in half. It's like his league average was 40% last year, and he's still walking and he's getting to his power. He looks really good.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of two things. One, Josh Young is a dude, like, he's a ball player. Saw him at Texas Tech when I was watching some college baseball, and I was like, oh, this dude can play some ball. This guy is a beast. Definitely better than his brother Jace. But like you said, the power's legit. Looks awesome. I think a lot of that K rate has to do with the fact that he got called up last year and was kind of trying to, I think, prove himself a little bit more, which may cause you to be a little more aggressive, something we've talked about with Francisco Alvarez on the Mets Up podcast. When you feel like you're playing for something, especially as a very young player getting your first real taste, I think you can be over-aggressive. Josh Young knows the third base is his now. He came into the season. This is your position. No one's taking it from you unless all of a sudden you are just so complete ass that we have to play someone else. But his competition is Josh Smith, and Josh Smith wasn't very good. So I think he came in a little more comfortable. Just play your game. Going to give a little credit to Bruce Bochy here, too. I think this might be a little Bruce Bochy factor of just like veteran manager who's seen it before, been around a lot of really great baseball players. Just calm down a little bit. This is yours. I'm going to make you feel comfortable. You're going to be playing every day. I love that Josh Young looks awesome because I got him in fantasy leagues as well.
I think something else big about Josh Young this year, and probably the fact of like Major League Baseball overreacting to his sample last year, he has one of the lowest zone rates in baseball so far early in the season. He's seeing some of the fewest pitches in the strike zone. And I think he's just a little bit better at taking them and not swinging at them. And then eventually they have to come to him. So he's been ahead in a lot of counts. It's a big deal for him. 38% zone rate. The league average is about 50.
Wow, that's a big difference.
And last year was 46. Huge difference right now. And he's seen 160 pitches. Not a whole sample yet, but we're getting close to a really good sample there. So I think that's a big deal for him. So maybe the league adjusts back and they give him more pitches in the strike zone. We see how he does there. But maybe we'll just hit them too. Looks like a good hitter.
Logan O'Hoppy's also looked really good, I think, behind the plate. Like, I don't know what like his like slash line will look like, but he's definitely got like major league power to be one of the better power hitting catchers, I feel like, in baseball right now at a very young age.
He screams like a 220, 310, like 420 guy.
That's kind of what I was feeling. I was like, I don't want to like predict his slash line because maybe he will become a more consistent hitter, but it feels like he's probably going to hit a bunch of home runs, swing and miss a lot, not really hit for average, but you're going to be like, oh, with okay defense and the power behind there, yeah, I'll take that every single day at the catcher position.
He power looks super legit for O'Hoppy. Like, he's lifting the ball, he's getting to it. 23 years old, also pretty young catcher. Also, not even that big of a dude. He's like 180, 190.
Really?
Yeah, he's not a big guy. And also, I saw him. I was like, he really isn't that big of a guy. Maybe he just doesn't look that big because the Angels have monsters walking all over the baseball field. But power's legit. Like, there's no way I think he has the highest xWOB of any catcher in baseball right now, which is pretty impressive too. He's just the only thing with him, and it's going to happen. He's going to go through a wicked cold spell. He swings and misses a lot. Another guy who just shows up and takes freaking war hacks. It's all pull power, which is very impressive. I'll take that every day of the week. But I think he just like the fact he's going to start his career as like better than Zunino at the plate, like the Zunino skill set, but hitting the ball much more and getting to more of that pull power earlier in his career. It's just eventually he's going to have to figure out a way to just like understand these breaking balls and off speeds. Then they'll probably come. He just looks like a ball player.
No, 100%. Another dude who's been highly touted, hyped up. Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll, how are you feeling about Corbin Carroll right now early in the year?
I'm still super confident in Corbin Carroll. I think he's a freak. It's just, we mentioned it before, hasn't drawn a walk.
No, it's weird. It's bizarre.
Which is really weird. Like, he's not a guy who was like a free swinger in the minors. And he's not even like chasing or whiffing a ton either, which makes it even weirder that he's doing this. But for some reason hasn't drawn a walk. Maybe he's just excited. Maybe just likes putting the ball in play to use that incredible 100th percentile sprint speed.
He is fast.
He is so fast. I'd love to see him in the slot. I'll tell you what. He'd be really fun for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. He's about the same size as Kyler Murray too, I think.
I think he's much bigger than Kyler Murray.
You think he's much bigger than Kyler Murray?
He's 5'10". I don't think is Murray 5'10".
Oh, he's 5'10". I thought he was like 5'8" as well.
No, Corbin Carroll is just a skinny boy. He's like 160.
Yeah, but he can fly. He's like you said, he's hitting the ball harder, lifting it a little bit more. He's been like a pretty solid fantasy player, at least from that perspective.
Super solid. And like the fact that this is like, it looks like he's really trying to struggle and figure things out, and he still like has multiple home runs and like putting the ball in play at will, and like he's still finding a way. 5 stolen bases already too, which is amazing. Got the Corbin Carroll most stolen bases in the league future, and he's right there right now, which is going to be amazing. Got that like 40-1, which is stupid as hell because he's the fastest guy in baseball by a lot. I think Witt actually has been a little faster than him this year. I think maybe
really
Bobby Witt saw that, and like they're like they've been neck and neck in the top sprint speed so far. But last year Carroll was one of my favorite stats history of baseball. Last year when Corbin Carroll came up, he was the fastest guy in baseball. Number 2 was Bubba Thompson on the Rangers. There was as much difference in time to first between Corbin Carroll and Bubba Thompson as there was between Bubba Thompson and Alec Thomas, who had the 41st fastest sprint speed.
Dang.
So 1 to 2 and 2 to 41, same distance in time difference.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
He's the freak athlete. He's hitting the ball harder, lifting it more. I think Corbin Carroll is going to be a superstar. People are a little low on him right now. If you play fantasy, if you prospect cards, just do it. He's a freak.
Definitely want to give a little bit of shine to Garrett Mitchell as well. I saw some people in the chat talking about him. Another dude who's an athletic freak, and he's really, really showing it off. Just a great center fielder all around, and he's showing that he definitely has some pop in that bat too. We saw him kind of crush the Mets a little bit. He's cooled off a little since that Mets series, and that's going to happen with some growing pains there. But Garrett Mitchell looks like the guy who should be a first-round pick. Like he looks legit good.
For sure, but he strikes out and swings and misses so much.
For sure, yeah.
So it's gonna be very up and down for him at first. He's gonna get to that power, and he's another guy who really takes advantage of his pull side power. If you look at where he hits home runs this year, it's the exact same spot. It's hugs the foul line and it's right down right field.
Yeah,
but he's such a freak athlete. He's really made strides in his pitch selection because he's not chasing as much as here either. So I think when he reins in those whiffs, and the change of a 40% K rate to a 30% K rate, that's massive. If that gets into the 20s by the end of the year, we could be looking at a stud.
Okay, how about on the pitching side? Let's let James, the pitching whisperer, tell us about some of the young rookie pitchers he's excited about.
My favorite rookie pitcher is not young, and it's Kodai Senga. I love Kodai Senga. I was a little nervous about Kodai Senga just because, I don't know, maybe it's PTSD. Maybe I don't know what it was, but it's probably some PTSD. But he looks so fucking good.
Oh yeah,
amazing article on Fangraphs this week by a friend of mine, Alex Isert, who was from Pitcher List, now he's Fangraphs. This kid's a freaking nature. He's a genius. Mind Over Bather is his Twitter name. He's one of my favorite nerds in the world. He wrote his thesis on pitch tunneling and the concept of like late break itself isn't really real, but it's just how well pitchers tunnel their pitches. And that kind of plays in because Senga is really able to tunnel that ghost fork and the fastball so well. The main thesis of this article is basically that the ghost fork is one of the most unique pitches in all of baseball. Like he quantified uniqueness score for every pitch in the league, and Senga was 90th out of 1,500.
Yeah,
which is really cool. And it's just the fact that he throws it really hard. It's straight up and down. It doesn't spin very much. It's so good. It has the makings of being one of the best pitchers in baseball. And that while he's sitting 96, while his sweeper that he learned to drive line in the offseason looks good, and the cutter's passable, Kodai Senga looks like a certifiable freak. He truthfully might be one of the 30 best pitchers in all of baseball right now.
Look at you doing the thing that you told all the Mets fans not to do right now. You've bought
data.
in.
I needed data. Once I've seen it with my eyes, and again, he's pitched against bad teams so far. He's been the Marlins twice, and he's going to pitch against the A's this weekend. Next, we're going to get the Dodgers, I think, unless they push him back for the Giants, which I'll be really sad about because I'm going to be in LA and I want to see him live so badly. But he looks so fucking good. Yeah. Like, if he didn't look good, I'd be honest about it. And I was really trepidatious about heading into the season. But seeing it with my eyes, I'm like, this guy could be a freak and a half. I'll take back what I said. I think he's one of the best 30 best starting pitchers in baseball. That was probably crazy. I still think he probably winds up with like a 3.5, 3.6 ERA guy with probably 28% strikeout rate in that range. Like a little bit better than league average. But I'm really excited. He looks super good. He's the most exciting thing about this Mets team so far this year.
Oh, 100% the most exciting thing that we've seen. The ghost fork is legitimate. It's like all those pitches come over as a gimmick. No, this is like a real pitch. Like he might be people might be paying him to teach him like how to throw this pitch because it's filthy.
It's one of the best pitches. Literally, he walked into the league as one of the best pitches in baseball. And people are going to see it more. People are going to learn about it. But it looked like that pitching ninja gift that you highlighted last episode messed up. It tunnels so well off that fastball. Like these, and like I gave the comp coming into the season, like the ceiling was Gausman because of those two things. Yeah. And it actually kind of looks like that's possible.
Like the way that he tunnels it, and on that pitching ninja gift too, which was crazy, was that was an away fastball to a righty and a low and inside ghost fork to a righty. It's like How are those two things going to look the same yet end up in completely different spots?
It's really good, and the sweeper's only going to get better. He just learned this pitch like in just like the winter.
Yeah,
This is really new. Yeah, if this pitch was a baby, it wouldn't even be moving yet. It'd be this is a young pitch. He looks really good. He looks really
awesome.
good. I'm really excited about him. But it's also different. Like I hate a lot of times like he's being grouped with the rookies. Like he is a rookie, but he's a professional baseball player.
Yes,
He has the life experience, and the difference in life experience for Kodai Senga versus all these other rookie pitchers is astronomical.
But he's also quite literally played in the 4A that does not exist. That gets classified as like the MPB. The MPB is considered like 4A in terms of like the talent. Like there's some really good players. There's some players that aren't that good. That wouldn't be like in the major leagues, but it's 4A when you like kind of do it from top to bottom, take the average. He got to play in that for a bunch of years and have good success there as well.
Yeah, and another huge thing about Kodai Senga that I was a little bit more worried about also coming into the year, he's keeping the ball on the ground. The sample isn't really ready yet. You want like 100 batted balls to get a sample for batted ball statistics. But he has a ground ball rate over 50%. If that ground ball rate's over 50%, I'm gonna jump out the window. I'm gonna be so excited. Like this is it. Like if he gets all these things together with the strikeouts he's getting, with that goes forky, this is freaky stuff going on right here. It's something to Mets fans and baseball fans should be really excited about. The only issue with Kodai Senga is the walk rate. And that's something that we knew coming into the year. He doesn't really have a call strike pitch because that goes fork. That's not a pitch that sits. That's a pitch you want to throw that out of the zone and get a whiff on it. That's the sweeper. I think is trying to become a called strike pitch. And I think it's getting to a point where that could get there when he gets better at it. He's better at sequencing it a little bit. But that is the issue. It also goes fork right now, 60% whiff rate.
That's gross.
It's pretty fucked up, honestly.
That's messed up. Another young pitcher that's making some waves as well. Well, I guess not another young pitcher. The first young pitcher, because Kodai, as we just said, not young, 30 years old. But a young pitcher, another rookie making some waves. Hunter Brown, your boy that you've been telling me about him all since last year. He had a shaky start in his first one, but his second one looked really good.
Really good. And Hunter Brown just has something that not a lot of players at his experience level have, and that's 2 elite breaking balls. Yeah. Like it's very rare a guy enters the major leagues with 2 of those. You really hope they have 1 plus a fastball. Hunter Brown very, very clearly has 2. And his curveball and his slider are both freaky as hell. They're awesome. It came from the Astros pitching lab. His 4-seamer looks great too. It's got good shape on it. Like he just has all of the makings. You know it because the Astros called him up and were like, "You want to replace Justin Verlander?" And he was like, "I think I'll try." And he's like, "Oh no, you're not gonna be Justin Verlander." They were that meme, not meme. It was like all the videos went around last year. They have the exact same windup. But I think Hunter Brown, people like sneaky, like he's only like 6'2", like 200 pounds. Like he's not Justin Verlander size. He's not Justin Verlander pedigree. I think he went to JUCO for a while too. Hunter Brown. Wayne State for a while before then, but the Astros taught him some pitches. He sits 96, like he looks incredible.
He looks really, really good. Who's your like favorite of the young pitchers? You would say right now?
I think Hunter might be my favorite, but we got a debut this week from Taj Bradley, and he looked like he's probably going to be one of the best young pitchers in all of baseball, which also makes sense because you got the Astros guy and the Rays guys, and that's so weird that happens like that.
Crazy. Who would have predicted?
Yeah, I'm a stuffist. I care about pitcher stuff much more in their command. I think that's the thing that's going to really be meaningful for these guys. Time start over start. And Taj Bradley walked in, and like his stuff score based on Eno Saris, his stuff plus metric, which is something everyone's looking into. It's pretty cool. Cool articles about it on The Athletic. Follow Eno on Twitter. It was comparable to Spencer Strider.
Yeah.
It's fastball. So if you're getting a fastball, it's getting that many swings and misses. I didn't get the exact number of swings and misses it got. That game he pitched on Wednesday, right? 12th?
Yes, he pitched, Wednesday.
Yeah, so I get exactly how many swings and misses he got with it now. But looking at it, like the eye test, it was freaking awesome. It was like doing that rising action thing. It was coming in really hard. Like he looked really good. I'm really confident in Taj Bradley. He got 6 whiffs on 19 swings, which for a guy in his first career start, that's really good. 30% whiff rate in fastball is awesome. And it was
that is good.
Yeah, he was sitting 96. Like he looks awesome.
No, he looks really good, and he's didn't have much at AAA, right? Not many innings at AAA. It was mostly AA. But like you said, there's some teams that are like, AAA for pitching doesn't really even matter.
Yeah. Not the Rays specifically, because the Rays do play down in I don't know what the league is called, but the Rays have a lot of faith.
I believe it's the International League.
Yeah, he did get 60 innings AAA last year, and he pitched well there. Not as well as AA. Like he definitely got hit around a little bit, missed less bats, but he still also doesn't really have that other pitch besides the fastball yet. He has a cutter that is classified as slider in some places that looks pretty good. That's probably going to be the pitch he uses though more for the weak contacts. It sits like 92, doesn't move a lot. It sits like 90, actually 88. But it's a good pitch. And then he's got to get a curveball. He's got to get there, and it probably will get there because he's got that nice like high going fastball, and then that drop down curveball. Like that's the way you can tunnel that high fastball the best. If you don't have that like super sick Strider slider, I kind of like that, the Strider slider. But that was kind of, I can't believe no one's made that rhyme before. But Taj Bradley looks like he has all the makings of being super good. The Razors going to raise him this year. He's going to throw like 60 pitches now. Like, just be aware of that.
No, 100%. And honestly, I think out of all the rookies, those probably have been the most like surprising guys, like excited about right now. There's a lot of other players that we're going to talk about here coming up. Just wanted to kind of put a cutoff point for what's going to end up being a video on the channel. Some of the other rookies to talk about that have been playing. I think we should probably start with Grayson Rodriguez. He's a freak. He ran to a rough start against the A's, which is weird because that lineup stinks, but that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's fine. Grayson Rodriguez also looks like he's tinkering a little bit. His changeup had kind of a different movement profile. His second start than his first start. It was dropping a little less. He's throwing a little less hard. So maybe it's just a situation where he's gaining his comfortability. I'm still super confident in him. I think he's really good, really, really good. We talked about him a lot last time I was on, so don't really want to spam Grayson again.
Who's someone you do want to talk about? I'm going to give you a little time here to pick one of the guys that you definitely want to speak about.
I want to talk about Drew Jameson briefly, just because
Dre,
right? It's Dre Jameson.
Yeah,
Dre Jameson.
No, that's not a typo. Yeah, Drey.
Yeah, Dre. Huh? He looked good coming out of the bullpen earlier this year, and he just made his first start on Wednesday. 4 strikeouts in 4 innings, no walks, which is a big deal for him. The only time he's ever struggled coming through the ranks as a prospect was in the PCL, and that's like pitching every single game in Coors Field. So that's really shitty. But yeah. I'm really excited to see how he looks in more starts, because the Diamondbacks have this like triple threat of pitching prospects. It was Jameson, Ryan Nelson, and Brandon Pfaadt. Pfaadt probably has the highest ceiling. Last year, Nelson pitched the best because he got to the major leagues and looked good.
Pfaadt's been bad this year. Is he in AAA?
I don't know if he's in AAA or AA, but if he's in AAA, like it doesn't even count.
He has been bad though. He's been getting shelled wherever he's at.
This could be a mental thing too, where I'm 24 years old. I just dominated the spring. All these other, it was AAA, so it doesn't count. Whatever. So. Yeah, he did throw 60 innings there last year though in the PCL with 2.60 ERA, which is kind of insane thinking about it, honestly. But he's also still missing a lot of bats, not walking anybody. So it's probably just some weird contact. But Jameson's good. The Diamondbacks are an exciting team so far, and if this triumvirate of young pitching makes an impact for them, they could be a team that actually competes for the playoffs, which is fun.
Definitely. Yeah, Dre Jameson, smaller guy too, and out of Ball State. So you like to see a dude who's coming from like not one of those powerhouses that you normally think of. I feel like the Diamondbacks have just done a really good job in general of finding really, really good talent, no matter where you come from. And Dre Jameson, he was someone I bought some cards of last year because they were going for like dirt cheap. And I was like, this guy's had great minor league numbers. What's the deal? Why is nobody high on him? Like, he's good.
And dude, you call me the pitching whisperer. It's a good joke, but it's like, yeah, sure. But the Diamondbacks employed Brent Strom, who's actually literally the pitching whisperer. Like,
has literally redefined how pitching is viewed in Major League Baseball. He was the brain trust behind the Astros taking anybody and making them into an elite pitcher. Trevor Bauer, I know he's been banished to Japan, but Trevor Bauer's like, yeah, Brent Strom is that dude. He also apparently knows how to cook up a mean sticky stuff concoction as well, Brent Strom. And that's just being a veteran of the game. That's just being hanging around a lot, trying to find the way. But like, every time Brent Strom has worked with a pitcher, like Garrett Cole, remember when Garrett Cole was just not really getting the most out of his stuff? And then Brent Strom works with him, and now he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Brent Strom, he bumps everything up. You've seen it with Zach Gallen too. That was one of the things I was most excited about last year with Zach Gallen, was now he gets to be around Brent Strom. And you're starting to see it with some of these young pitchers as well.
Yeah, and the big thing with Jameson, especially the last thing to say on him, is that he has a very good slider. It's like super slurvy, and he's just gotten so much more movement on it this year. Yeah, and that seems like that's probably is a Strom effect, and that pitch looks like it's really become elevated.
What about Gunnar Henderson? I'm kind of disappointed. I probably should have put him in the disappointing, I guess, a little bit. He's just been like not that guy.
Nah, I think he's still that guy. He's striking out a lot. He's just swinging and missing a lot. I think he's really kind of like what we're talking about. He's like, this team could be really good. I'm a big part of it. Like, I want to get to my power and do some good stuff. He's just swinging and missing a lot. He's striking out a ton. It's like almost 40% so far in the season. But he's walking like over 20% of the time.
Okay, that's good.
Like he's still doing the thing. Like his on-base percentage, his average is 160, on-base percentage is 350.
Yeah.
If his on-base percentage is 350 at the end of the year, you're probably like, all right, Gunnar Henderson actually had a good season. Yeah. Like even as bad as he's been this year, his WRC plus is like 100.
Okay.
So like he is disappointing in terms of he's not actually hitting the ball. And the big thing with Gunnar Henderson right now, which was the one issue with him last year, he doesn't have a hit yet on a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch.
Interesting.
So it's only fastballs. And that's a big adjustment when you come from the minors to the majors. When you're a elite athlete like Henderson, you're going to get to your velocity. That's been good. You can't pick up those breaking balls right now. So maybe he does need a little more seasoning, but I still think he's awesome. Like I really think he's really, really, really good still.
No, 100%. Miguel Vargas, I feel like is kind of in that grouping too of he's very, very good, but the numbers just haven't necessarily shown it yet, kind of thing.
Miguel Vargas might break the league when it happens, because like you go to his baseball savants all red. He's finding his power. He's not swinging and missing. He never chases. He is walking 32% of the time.
I mean, I think you might see teams force rookies for a week to not swing at a single pitch in spring training, like the Dodgers did with Miguel Vargas when he had that hand issue. They're like, you're going to stand at the plate, you're going to take your at bat, but you will not swing. All you're going to do is watch these pitches come in. It's going to be good for you. Looks like it might have worked out a little bit.
He is, though, the same as Henderson, where he also doesn't have a hit this year so far off of a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch. Okay. But he has a couple hard hit balls off changeup, so I don't think that's going to be an issue, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't swing at them. They're not in the strike zone. It doesn't matter. If he ends up the season with like a 15% K rate, like a 22% walk rate, he could be like an MVP in the future of this league. He does have real power. He's a really good athlete. He's playing good defense at second base, which is a huge deal for them. Yes. Massive deal for them, because there's a lot of more defensive importance placed on second base now without the shift. It's become a premier defensive position again, where it was kind of hidden for the last 5 years as the shift became more popular. He's super good. I love Miguel Vargas. He's also he's awesome. He does so many things well, and the power is going to come for sure. Everyone wait on Miguel Vargas. It's going to happen.
No, 100%. Give me a guy that you want to talk about.
Give me a guy I want to talk about.
Well, I could take a guess on one you want to talk about.
No, I want to talk about someone who's like a little more popular, who I was like really, really excited about in the preseason, who's had like a very interesting start so far, is Oscar Colas on the White Sox. He is a guy who had this big adjustment period just because he played like he was in Japan. He's had a weird journey to get to the major leagues.
Yeah, coming from Cuba, and he was a two-way player. He was like supposed to be like the Ohtani competitor actually when he was coming up.
He's another guy who's really struggling with breaking balls. He's swinging and missing a lot. He's chasing a lot in general, but he's already hit the ball 112 miles an hour this year. That's 32nd hardest hit ball in the whole league. It's harder than anything that Pete Alonso, Julio Rodriguez, or Juan Soto have hit. And he's not really lifting as much, which is kind of again expected for his first 2 weeks in the major leagues. But the power's there, which was probably the biggest concern with his profile at all. And I still think he's gonna be good. Weird start, but I like him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy too who I think last year dominated Double-A, if I remember correctly. I'm just pulling up these numbers here real quick on Oscar Colas. Yeah, he only played 7 games in Triple-A. If you guys have not figured out a little bit of a theme here, or a common issue, is the guys who maybe are swinging, missing a lot, maybe having troubles with the breaking ball, or the dudes who also probably haven't seen a good one because they really didn't get to play at Triple-A ever.
Yeah, not that even that many good ones at Triple-A, but he is striking out less than he did all year last year at Double-A. And again, like that, the hit tool is something that's probably never going to come for him. And it was all about how much he could get to his raw power in the game, because he's not really that big of a dude, but you like watch him take batting practice. You're like, okay, this guy really has some juice. And he is already 24 years old. So you did want to see him hit the ground running somewhat. And he's basically been league average this year, not being able to figure out breaking balls. So if there ever is something, again, I'm nervous about the White Sox in general, because they don't really have coaches to teach you anything over there. But it looks like there's a chance that Oscar Colas could be a really good player.
Definitely. The other rookie I'm going to bring up, Masataka Yoshida. Again, not necessarily the young guy, but he is technically a rookie. He's doing basically exactly what we expect, right? Not striking out, walking a ton, doesn't really hit the ball that hard. He's just kind of like fine.
He's kind of exactly. He has more than twice as many walks as strikeouts so far.
That's actually pretty crazy.
It's insane. But he also has like almost an 80% ground ball rate,
which is also a little crazy.
Yeah, it's all kind of just crazy. Can't lift the ball.
He also got cursed when he hit his first home run over the Green Monster, and the kid caught it, and he's like, I'm not giving you the ball. It's mine. I want this ball. You're not getting it. That's crazy.
It's really mean.
He's been cursed ever since. He has not been the same. But yeah, I mean, like, he's also a small guy. I think people maybe got a little confused from the World Baseball Classic of like how well he performed. He's 5'8", 175. Like that is legitimately smaller than me. And I am not a big guy by any means. So, like, yeah, the crazy power and stuff like that's probably not going to ever come with Yoshida, but he could still be a very good player because he gets on base and he's going to put the ball in play.
And he's got the hit tool. So that's it. That's like he's going to hit the ball, put the play a lot. And it was kind of just weird. Like, he might just get screwed based on the expectations put on him because of the contract the Red Sox gave him.
Yes.
It's probably not that fair. Like, he probably should have gotten like a 3 for like 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even like a 3 for 40. Instead, they gave him like a lot of money, and now they seem to put a lot on him. It's just not. He's probably not that guy. He's okay. He's a good ball player for sure, but I don't know.
Pretty crazy that the Red Sox decided to pay Masataka Yoshida, Trevor Story, Chris Sale, but they had Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts, and they're like, "You guys can go. We don't want you. We want these guys instead."
Yeah, Heim Bloom, a lot of bad decisions so far.
No, it's not. Looks like that first year where they made the playoffs like out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the Heim Bloom effect." Looks like that was just sheer luck, honestly. Yeah. Like everything went perfectly right for that to happen, because they look bad.
Yeah. Can I talk about one more guy before we head out here in a few minutes?
Is it Ji-Wan Bae?
I gotta talk about Ji-Wan Bae for a second.
Talk about Ji-Wan Bae. I'll give it to you.
I love Ji-Wan Bae. Ji-Wan Bae came over as a pretty good prospect from Korea to the Pirates, and he had some issues when he coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe not a good guy, but he got some counseling, got better at it, and he had like this really interesting minor league profile where it was like kind of Kwani, where he would walk. His plate discipline was awesome. He didn't get to that much power. Never chased. Put the ball in play a lot. Really good speed. Really good athlete. Good defensive second baseman, outfielder. So you're like, okay, this is a profile that could come to the major leagues and be good. I love that plate discipline from him. I love the fact he put the ball in play so much. I really thought he could be a guy who like really helped, especially in fantasy, like batting average, stolen bases. Something changed in Ji-Wan Bae. Maybe he just said, fuck it, because he is just selling out, going for the power right now. He actually is lifting the ball and finding that power. But he's whiffing and chasing way more. So it's kind of against what I loved about him, but he still is getting decent results. And he's going to play a lot now with O'Neal Cruz on the IL. Because now Rodolfo Castro has actually been playing a lot of shortstop for them. I don't know if Ji-Wan Bae has played shortstop for them, but I know they mentioned it was a possibility. I'm going to double check right now. Defensive lineman in the last 4 games for the Pirates, but he's going to be in the lineup every single day. Every single day. He was probably there anyway. He was on the strong side of a platoon, but now they just lost a middle infielder. He's going to play a lot. And I just think he's got some stuff. He's got a little of that ball player in him. He played 1 game of shortstop, okay, but a lot of second and then some also in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, Ji-Wan Bae is your guy. I'm going to let you take it. I don't get it with Ji-Wan Bae, but listen, I didn't necessarily get it with Stephen Kwan off the rip last year either, so we'll see how it goes. The guy that I want to talk about is as my guy that I've been banging the drum for forever, Joey Wiemer. Having a rough go of it right now. He had a great series against the Mets, and that's kind of been it. But he has shown that elite athletic ability that we saw from him when he was in the minors. Crazy good in the outfield, great defender, cannon of an arm, really good, just fast as hell. And he is walking a lot, which is pretty cool. That's really cool to see. At least he's not hitting the ball hard, though, which is something that I expected him to do a little bit more. But maybe that's also because he is chasing a lot, so he's just not really even barreling baseballs that much, so he can't really hit it that hard. It'd be interesting to see how he plays the rest of the year. It seems like it's probably going to be his position. I don't really know who else the Brewers can play out there. I get maybe Sal Frelick if he gets the call up at some point, which he probably will this year.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think right now. I know Luis Urias on the IL, and he's going to bump somebody from the infield. So maybe Anderson just goes outfield every day.
Outfield? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that probably is what happens. Because he has played a little bit of outfield this year too, even with Urias on the shelf. That probably is what happens. Because I think a lot of people are just confusing Wiemer and Gary Mitchell. They kind of look similar.
No.
I mean, just big athletic outfielders.
Big athletic outfilders for sure, but Wiemer's got that blonde hair, those blonde locks flowing.
Those German blonde locks, beautiful. One last guy I want to mention briefly is just because the Cardinals are a machine in player development. Alec Burleson, still technically a rookie, he's a little older. He had a lights out season in AAA, but just seemed like he didn't have a spot, and now they very much have found a spot for him. And he never really hit the ball super hard, but he never struck out very much. And he's keeping that in the majors. But one big thing, he's lifting the ball a lot more. Never hit as many fly balls. Average launch angle, which I hate because it can really get skewed by pop-ups and ground balls. It's gone from 5 to 14, so maybe there's just a couple pop-ups, but it looks like he is hitting more flat balls, which is a big deal for him.
He is hitting the ball hard, too. He's 81st percentile max XVL and 91st in average, 94th percentile hard hit rate. Barrel rate's down, though, 22% or 22nd percentile. But, yeah, doesn't strike out. He's doing the Andres Jimenez, the chase rate, no whiffs.
Yeah, that's cool. And also, I just checked. He actually doesn't have any pop-ups in the season so far. So Alec Burleson is meaningfully hitting the ball in the air more. 50% ground ball rate in his limited sample last year, 27% this year.
His one home run is opposite field to left field. That is super interesting. That's where the power has been this year. Otherwise, all his hits have kind of landed in the same spot, which is like in front of the right fielder.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But he's a guy. I love seeing when a guy's like has very good minor league stats because it just probably means he's like probably a decent ball player.
Yeah, no, definitely. And he was a third round pick, I think, out of ECU. Second round pick, compensation round. So he's got some stuff. He was a good hitter at ECU. I'm going to open this up to the chat for you guys to ask us a couple questions here before we wrap up. We're approaching, it is 1 o'clock now. So a couple questions for me and James that you guys have. Good chance to throw them out there. Otherwise, we'll be heading off here in a couple minutes and enjoying the weekend. It's beautiful weather out in New York right now.
Yeah, it really is. Heading to California tomorrow. Going to catch some beach. see a friend, hang out, watch the Mets. It's gonna be awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it'll be good. We talked about Miguel Vargas, Nick. We talked about Spencer Steer. We like both those guys. Steer is going to be in the surprisingly good category, or just like guys that have impressed. Miguel Vargas has been super good. We actually literally just talked about him like 5 minutes ago. Walking a ton, all good stuff. Here's one for you, James. Pitching guy. How do you feel about Kyle Bradish?
I like Bradish, but I mean, Bradish only didn't really get to pitch much this year because he got hit with a freaking liner in his ankle and he got a foot contusion. He looks like he's already made a couple of rehab starts. He's gonna be back next week. He has such a good slider. His slider could be one of the better sliders in the entire league. It's awesome, and he has really good velocity. His fastball just had bad shape. But he picked up a sinker. I think he was throwing a little bit of a cutter too. So I was really excited to see a couple starts from Bradish. I'm everywhere in fantasy, all my dynasty teams, because I wanted to see how that new sinker played with the slider, because it was moving. It was like really windy in spring. It looked nice, but I didn't like having like a lot of data on it. So I'm still on a Kyle Bradish. But I want, especially in that nice big the new cavernous Camden Yards.
Yes,
a lot of room for fly balls out there for a guy like Kyle Bradish who throws that slider sinker now. But excited to see him pitch. I like Bradish.
You have the house that Ruth built. You're gonna have the house that Grayson Rodriguez built, because the Orioles are like, we got pitching prospects. We're gonna change how this ballpark plays exactly for them. Left field is now impossible to hit a home run. This one comes from Alvaro. Do you think the Cardinals move O'Neill or Carlson since they have Walker and Burleson? I think one of those guys does get moved. I don't know when it's going to happen, but surely when they make their trade deadline move for more pitching, which they're 100% going to do, you're probably going to put one of those guys, and it's probably Carlson just because he's younger, I would assume, right? He's going to have maybe a little more value.
I think they've already had some issues with Tyler O'Neill, and it's already had like such a weird up and down, and he'll get you a better piece, I think, than Dylan Carlson.
You think so?
Yeah, I do think so.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think Tyler O'Neill still has the top end ceiling.
He does still, hit the ball extremely, extremely hard. He is a free agent in 2025, so you got two more full seasons. You got 2 seasons left of him, basically, including this year. Yeah. Carlson's actually hitting the ball kind of well this year to start the year.
Carlson looks like he's made a jump, but I just think is a better defensive outfielder than Tyler O'Neill. Like, if Jordan Walker and Alec Burleson are hitting well enough and Dylan Carlson's playing good defensive center field, Tyler O'Neill becomes extraneous on this team.
Yeah.
Especially if they're having issues with his hustle.
Although that's Ali Marmol being a hardo. That guy's a loser.
But I mean, he's still part of the organization. They hire him and they pay him. He makes the decisions on a daily basis. Like, that's something meaningful. And the only issue with that is who trades you a pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know right now. It's really hard to tell who's going to be available or not, because it's like so early in the season. So that's why these trade questions get a little bit tough. Is like, I mean, the Diamondbacks are in first place right now. The Pirates are in second. Like, if they're in second place by the time the trade deadline's around, they're probably not trading anybody.
Here's a fun thought experiment. If the Phillies in the beginning of July are 31 and 39, 70 games, do they look to trade Aaron Nola?
It depends how Andrew Painter's pitching, I think.
Andrew Painter is even going to pitch this year?
I think they said he's throwing again, I think is what I last read. But it's a really good question of whether or not can you trade Aaron Nola? Like, can you actually do that as an organization? No, I know, but like as an organization to your fit, can you actually do that? It's probably, if the Phillies are kind of out of it, it's probably the right move. Might as well get something, especially because the farm system is dog water. But
I'm looking at the teams that aren't so good, and I can't find the pitcher to trade that even makes sense for a guy like Tyler O'Neill's caliber.
Nationals got nobody.
No one.
The Marlins.
I mean, you're not trading Sandy, I don't think.
Trevor Rogers is probably the guy who gets traded out of that pitching staff.
I guess,
but even then, he's like still so young-ish.
Weird.
Yeah. Like in the Central, like the Pirates.
The Reds aren't not trading him.
Reds aren't trading anybody.
Not yet. The Reds will trade those guys, just not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
And then out west, you don't want anybody from the Rockies. Herman Marquez, that would be the guy.
It's like Herman Marquez would be so obvious to go to St. Louis and have amazing twilight of his career.
Of course. Yeah,
win 15 games 4 years in a row for no fucking reason.
Haunt the Mets in a really important game.
Now I'm just thinking about Tyler O'Neill in Colorado. That's what I want now.
Yeah, he'd be great. He'd be so sick. And he would fit them so well. They need a Tyler O'Neill out there because they're playing Jonathan Daza every day.
But like the other teams, like the Mariners, if they actually get bad, they're not gonna trade anybody.
Tigers, I mean, you'd move Robbie Ray probably if you could, but does anybody want Robbie Ray?
Imagine what they would attach to Robbie Ray to get rid of him. That guy's what fools.
The Red Sox. I mean, Sale,
too much money.
But yeah, same thing. Like those guys also maybe aren't really that good. Giants maybe DeSclafani, Tony Disco, Shawn Manaea.
I guess Alex Wood, Ross Stripling, if you want.
we talked about this the other night. We're in a weird spot where baseball does not have one clear, obvious, dominant team, but there are a lot of really good teams. Like there's a lot of parity right now in Major League Baseball.
But like if you look at across the league, the elite pitcher that can get traded, it is Aaron Nola.
Yeah, probably. Or Shohei Ohtani.
I guess if they make a move, the Cardinals just trade like Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, like 3 good prospects for Shohei Ohtani.
I think it starts with Jordan Walker. Unfortunately, I don't think that gets it done for Shohei Ohtani. I think the Angels go, I need Jordan Walker, or I need Pink Hentz, or I need Mason. I need your best prospect and 3 other guys.
They're going to lose him for nothing. You really think even if it got to the trade deadline and they were like, he doesn't have a no trade, does he? I don't think he has no trade clause right now, right?
Well, you have to keep in mind that if Shohei Ohtani is available, every single good team is going to make a move for him. So it's not necessarily that the Angels can say we want everything. It's we're going to have to be better than whoever's offering, and it's going to it'll be insane. It's a trade think about what Juan Soto and Max Scherzer and Trey Turner and those guys got. Shohei Ohtani's going to get something similar-ish.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you made a trade with the Dodgers and you asked for like Mookie Betts and Julio Urias in the same deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
That'd be a big package.
It'd be a big for half a year with the option to maybe sign him and get him to stay forever.
What a miracle the Cardinals even got Jordan Montgomery last year. Because, oh my God, would this be a fiasco without him and that pitching staff?
Imagine that. Good thing they didn't hold on to Harrison Bader. It ended up being a good trade for both teams, honestly.
It's a great trade for both teams because the Cardinals have unlimited outfielders and the Yankees kind of did have something like unlimited pitching. But
I think, guys, that's where we're going to wrap it up today. Big shout out to James for coming out on Friday, the recurring guest spot. James, tell him where to find you on Twitter.
@James_Schiano. Got more time in my life now, so I'm going to be pumping out more baseball content, hopefully.
Yeah, James is a full-time baseball man now, so definitely go drop him a follow over on Twitter. Go check out the Mets Up podcast. If you guys are Mets fans, me and James do the official podcast for the team, Mets Up. You should definitely go listen. It's pretty awesome. We appreciate it. And, see you guys on Monday. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Yep, of course.